Okay, so I guess, I don't know where Travis is, but she was bumped in with the function. Couple meetings earlier with 8:02. The first thing, I guess, probably should be a comment instead of going right to number 2 on that. So we got talking about, we seem to be going back and forth. And some of it, if we follow the old charter and try to do each section in order, you end up, because we changed the form of government, or we agreed to try to change the form of government from the strong mayor to the council manager. There's a lot of stuff that just doesn't apply. So you're trying to figure out what you're gonna take out, and if you take it out, who's gonna do it, and all that kind of stuff. And so we figured, well, maybe it would be smarter to, we have 3 branches of government. We have the mayor, the council, and the city manager. Maybe we should define those roles first. So then when we go back to doing it section by section, we'll have already answered some of those questions. So we're not stumbling all over. 8 was one of those. We just had a lot of it. And when you look at the next ones coming up, some of them, it's just going to be obvious that, that doesn't go there anymore. That goes under the city manager's duty, or that's already explained in this council. We just thought maybe everything would flow a whole lot better if we actually defined those, because that's a major change.
As well as remembering that when this was all written in 1917, then in 1966 with it.
Yeah.
So city manager wasn't even a part of our city. Zoning was what I call zoning in today's world was kind of like a responsibility of city council back in those days. So I think our language has changed. Our roles have changed. So maybe we worked last time on the roles of the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe going through the city manager and the city council so we can have those defined. And I even brought paper, we can chart it out. If you would like. Does that sound reasonable?
And then maybe we can go back and review some stuff. So like we were hanging up on the mayor part of it. And the first line says the mayor is the CEO. Well, if we go to a council manager form of government and the mayor is not.
Who is? Who is?
City manager. I mean, if there is.
And do we even use that language?
Do we even use that language? Yeah, it would be more the city manager would be the chief operating, so it'd be a COA, not a CEO. I don't think we have a CEO. Then you can't come in and say, I'm the CEO of this community. I can do whatever. That's just not in that form of government. It's not the way it is. I even Googled it just to see if that wording is correct, and I said no. So it's stuff like that we're just trying to. So we had already done the mayor kind of thing, and we may want to go back and revisit
I
that.
think we will eventually, yeah.
But so that's why. Is that good with everybody? Does that sound like a smart way to go?
Sherry, when you have the ability in Google Docs to word search so that you can change. So there's a lot of places in here that instead of shall says must.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah.
should change all of those must to shall.
Shalls.
And then I found a couple other places where you still have all of them.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm just wondering if there's a way that you can word search and then you should make all those changes all at once.
Oh, there probably is.
There.
Do I know how to do it? Is the next question.
We can schedule.
Yeah. And you know what? When we get the content in there,
Yeah.
I'll make sure we do that.
Because I noticed also there's some places in here that when we're talking about appointments,
Yeah.
May, they're all mays in there.
instead of, they should be shalls.
Well, I think like city council, if the voters vote, city council shall schedule an election. But here it's
Oh,
May.
When we were
You
talking about
certainly
that.
don't want that.
Yeah.
You want something affirmative.
Yeah, because May means you don't really have to.
Right. It's at the discretion, it would be discretion. of the
Right,
council.
right. And that was a big conversation amongst, the meetings when we were looking at the proposed, it was the shalls and the mays.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of little things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Technically, I mean, we have to decide at some point whether we want older persons or counselors or council members or. You
And
know,
then some of the old
all,
language.
all
that's
of
in
it's
there,
kind of an old term.
If we're working on a section, that's old language, you can clean that up. too.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, she did some of that in that working draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. All right, so if we go to section 23. Jennifer, Carrie made copies of the proposed, if you want a copy of that without having to
And
go.
we changed it from the one we voted on.
Oh, we're far from being done.
No, but is this?
That's the
We
one
call
that
that
we voted on.
proposal one. These
Okay,
guys call it the failed proposal.
okay, I've got the failed proposal.
Okay. That's the last.
We use it as a reference and we do some cutting and pasting because the language is bigger than what we can do.
Yeah, I sort of shuffled it, I thought it is in there, but.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh, one other thing.
yeah,
So
one,
the other thing is, these meetings were, not being nearly as formal as they needed to be, and we felt like we're getting behind. This group can't legally meet, so the only time we meet is when we're here. So, when we get on a subject, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have the task force, because everybody's passed through reviewing it, having an idea. So getting all the task force heard, some sort of a consensus if there is, and then go to the public for comment, because otherwise it just bounces back and forth, and we got, like, I felt like the last meeting, we got nothing done.
and then before we get down to the nitty gritty here, Wednesday is the first Wednesday on the waterfront, which starts at 6. Would anybody be opposed to moving it to 8 o'clock, or this meeting to 8 o'clock instead of 3 o'clock?
Didn't we already do that?
No, we did not.
Huh?
We didn't do it. We didn't talk about 8 in the morning. You fine with that?
As long as my wife did it, I'm good.
Well, you got a warning, she would do that over you, right? That's why I mentioned it the other day to go in and change it. I thought it was changed.
Well,
No, we don't.
we don't.
It's 10 after 8.
That's what I did, meant the other day, and I said, you need 48 hours to warn it, you said it's already done.
Oh, but this meeting was done on there.
No.
Oh, I misunderstood you. My bad, sorry.
Thank you so
Okay, do it right now.
And, rules, man, they're fun driving sometimes. I have to wait till 8:11. I don't think anybody cares.
I guess these watch says it there.
But we realized 3 to 5, you have, that we don't hardly ever get done when we're supposed to get done. Wednesdays on the waterfront starts at 6. I haven't taken them.
Right.
Yeah.
It's gonna rain.
Done.
Oh, it's probably gonna rain. There you go. That's what I meant the other day.
Yeah, I
It's
know,
like,
I know.
You told me it was already done. I said, oh, all right, good.
Well, I thought you meant this meeting. Okay,
Communication. Why my credit?
Are you going to do that consistently during the 6 weeks?
what do you mean?
Wednesdays on the water
Oh.
for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Are you
I-
going to consistently do Wednesday at 8?
I would like to.
I would like to.
The 3 to 5, by 3 o'clock, I mean, I'm up at 4:30 in the morning, by 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm not as sharp. I'm not, no, I don't need any comments on that. Is that okay with you guys? Probably better for you, right? We do that. Yeah. Okay. Probably.
Okay,
So are you doing it 3 o'clock, or at 8 o'clock on
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock on
I
Wednesday?
think we're gonna move them all.
All of them, I know, and if Travis wants to come virtually, he could do that.
Yeah.
Wants to be at school. Okay, we'll talk to him. Okay.
So, city council
What is this one?
definition.
Okay, so section 23. Now, if we get bogged down and you want me to chart it, I brought chart paper. All right, so here's this.
If you look at the current survey, but I tell you, this is my look on it. I like crossed out every single thing on there, so that's how accurate that is. I mean, I'm not sure that I kept any. But yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I kept 2 or 3 and then I got question marks on there.
I did too.
I mean, these things are just really.
All right, yeah, like we don't have a peddler or meat anymore. Now, Mike, from when you spoke with your colleagues on this committee, on the charter committee, you got the impression that they want all of this old stuff out and not referenced anywhere, right? Is that?
Well, you can, if it's, they don't, if you want to reference internally documents like,
Section
see
2.
section 2.
Yeah.
But to reference, they don't want you to cross-reference statute.
Okay.
State
State
statute.
statute.
Yeah.
Right. So if the state statute has a definition of city council powers or something, and we're not using that, they don't want you to just reference the Vermont state statute.
Right.
Okay, all right,
Say,
clear on that.
or even saying if it doesn't conflict with state statute. You don't want any reference to it.
All right,
Which is okay with me. That way we have to spell it out.
so how would be the best way to proceed here? If you look at the current charter, our current charter, I had said that opening paragraph, I couldn't see why that can't stay.
Powers to make, yeah, I kept that too. At first, just to start it.
To start it.
Because it says penalties for the breach thereof, semicolon. And then we gotta change, I actually crossed out.
Well,
The first 19 of them.
yeah, I could comment on that too. The only,
Except maybe the vendors.
I will say that I put a line through in that opening paragraph and to inflict penalties for the breach thereof. It's not the council's place to inflict the penalties, is it?
No.
Not anymore. We have a police department
Okay.
and we have zoning.
We have
Zoning.
And we'll have a city manager.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, so between the 3 of them.
So can we
They're going to
put,
absorb that duty.
can we put
Somebody
this,
will do it.
can we put the semicolon, or the colon after the word purposes and strike out and to inflict penalties for the branch thereof? How do we feel about that?
After purposes?
That's what I'm proposing.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah, just put semicolon there and get rid of it.
Can I ask?
Yeah, so
who's going to inflict penalties, if they might call it that, for violations of water and sewer ordinances other than,
City manager.
I think the commissioners are in control of that, and the council being the water commissioners.
So
So-
this is what we can't do.
Yeah.
So on
I
every
have it
line,
down. When there's a water and sewer section.
Yeah.
Under all of this, that's where I put that.
I'm sorry, I know.
Let's just
We,
put that
we
there. for
certainly
now.
want your opinion. We can't
Okay,
have
so I'll make a note.
January
of that.
cause of that, because we won't get anything done. Last Wednesday, we got nothing.
Water and sewer.
Got a lot of discussion. We got nothing.
So let's just go down through these. Anybody see? I had a strike through for one. How's everyone feel?
Instead of,
Yeah.
instead of saying inflicting penalties, I mean, isn't it up to the council to provide the penalty or the penalties providing any ordinances?
Well, that's what I was hung up on, the inflicting
Yeah.
penalties. I see we have roles and responsibilities, but are we the enforcers to go out and say you get a $10 fine for not parking here?
No, you're not the enforcer, but your council has the power to regulate, and this regulation, you have to provide, there's penalties.
But it says,
But would that be under in ordinances? So does it have to be spelled out here? I don't know.
And your law, oh, I'm sorry. Your law background, what do you feel?
I mean, I'm no longer a lawyer, I'm retired.
Yeah, I know.
So I can only give an opinion as a citizen.
Okay. So your opinion as a citizen?
I'm sorry, my opinion as a citizen of what particularly? That
How do you
whether
say-
or not to inflict penalties.
Yeah.
Generally, I probably not. Some of the cases actually go to the judicial, I'll refer to the judiciary. Certainly, the police don't decide, what the penalty is. They frequently go to the court system.
Yeah, you give them the ticket.
So,
what if we, okay,
can I just be off the top of
Speak
your
up.
head? Can it, off the top of everybody's head, can you think of an ordinance that includes the penalty? Because it would be my feeling that an ordinance would or should also prescribe the penalty. So saying like, you have to do this, and if you don't, this happens,
Right.
or you can't do this, and if you do, this happens. And if that's the case, that would just fall under the creation of ordinances, which is already, which is outlined in the very first part of the first sentence. So I would think that it's redundant as long, because if we're agreeing that inflicting actually, like meting out those penalties isn't, just deciding what they
Yeah.
are. If that's what the city council does, is just decide what they are and not inflict them. I think inflicting penalties would just fix that.
Okay.
so for instance, you got an old collapsed house sitting there. There is an ordinance against it, and there is a penalty for not following.
Does it in the ordinance?
Yes.
about that? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, zoning has certain penalties,
Yeah.
monetary penalties inflicted if you want to
Park.
use that.
Parking has fines.
Right.
But those are all, those are examples of what you're talking about.
And
I
that's
agree
under
with you.
zoning, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
so
agree with you, so that would go
I
to
got a
whatever
C all
department
over the place here on.
tends to deal with that. Parking tickets would be the police department,
Zoning would be Friday.
zoning would be for the other thing, they're having,
Yeah.
400 chickens and 5 horses.
All right, so.
So maybe we could put,
Straight.
could we add the power to make, establish, alter, amend, control, or repeal the ordinances? So then or just leave it the way it is. I don't have a problem.
I say leave it the way it is.
Because I don't think you're going to control, I mean, control could be another.
Yeah, it could be a whole nother.
Yeah, it could be a whole nother thing.
entities, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Keep it simple.
good, yeah.
Can we strike through 1, 2, 3,
3, I'm not so sure.
Okay,
So who-
1 and 2?
So if you've got a vendor coming to Gardner Park, Main Street, or city, to the waterfront, whatever, don't the council have to approve all the vendor
Yeah,
permits?
yeah.
So wouldn't that still be, isn't that what that is, basically? I mean, I don't think we have to say regulate exhibitions, showmen, you know.
It's to regulate the execution of the common showman. What was that all about?
Probably jugglers,
Or
you know, they had people out there selling, snake bite,
snake oil.
Yes.
That's
you know, that kind of stuff. I mean, you gotta remember when this was written,
Yeah,
that was a big deal.
yeah.
So,
Like the Gunsmoke days, right? Okay.
I think you could put to regulate exhibitions.
I think you can cross out a common show. Just, you could say exhibition, well, okay, but would the city council regulate a show? Like, for example, what if there was,
When he's on the waterfront?
yeah,
Yes.
does the city council regulate that?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
What about if an establishment, like, let's say a bar had a singer, like a,
When it's private.
would be kind
That goes with your license. Some like
Long as you
liquor
don't-
license would allow you,
Anything indoors.
So should we
yeah.
say a public? Should we say to regulate public exhibitions and shows of every kind?
I like that word. Oh, I gotta, what if I gotta do that? I gotta bold that. Put it in bold. Bold. Bold, okay, got it. Exhibitions and shows of every kind. Do we need shows? And of every kind? Dennis, you're just saying anything indoor, you don't need any of this.
Right.
Yeah, so to regulate public exhibitions, so
Is a show an exhibition?
which Wednesdays on the waterfront, what do you call that?
an event.
So you could always just change shows to events.
Yeah. that might
Yeah.
cover it.
I like that better.
Do you want to regulate events just outdoors or events indoors as well? Does the council have to give approval, say, for the carnival that goes up there?
But anything that would be indoor, like a band or something.
Farmers market, all that stuff comes.
So it would be outdoor, so regulate all outdoor
Right.
events. All outdoor public events.
The farmers market vendors don't come before council.
No,
They don't?
no,
The individual
Not-
vendors
yeah.
come through the market.
No, but the organization
Yes,
that sets up the farmers.
they do.
That's what I-
Mhm.
And you do have special liquor licenses.
we do that.
Or you do all
Use
liquor
to
licenses.
regulate
All liquor
shows.
licenses.
Yeah, that may be in here somewhere.
So like those
So the
winter
chips.
Saturdays that happen just outside,
At the tasting center?
yeah, those weren't something the council had to do.
No,
So then, yeah, I think we do
Same
have to
with
say outdoor.
Yeah, gateway.
Or you
they
can,
don't
you
want
can
any-
change it to, regulating exhibitions and events on public property.
I was thinking about the public property.
Mm,
To
Then
regulate,
then you can regulate what happens inside a building if it's a public building.
But like, what about the library? Like, they don't, like, they can have events in their public building, but they can have events without them going to the council, like,
Right.
the historical, so I don't
Right.
even.
That's true.
and if there's ever gonna be wine or anything like that, then they have to come in front of the board, the council, to get a liquor license. You can't just serve wine at the library to have an event.
But you could if there was no wine, you would have to come.
Exactly.
Okay.
I like what Dennis said. Can you say that again?
Did I say something?
You
I-
said,
I've got just to regulate the public exhibitions and events of every kind. And that's all I did. I struck out of common showman and then I struck out shows. I don't think you want to just make it public property because somebody's going to have a piece of property that they're going to want to do something with. And then you're going to end up
Or if
with,
you want a concert on your, want that one.
yeah, you're going to create noise and then you're going to have to bring in the police who would have to control that.
Well,
You can provide an ordinance for those.
and I think we have one already.
I know after the fish concert, we put in work,
He did. So that won't repeat itself.
and then we had some trying to do it.
Yeah.
Without, without any hiring police or public protection, all of that stuff to want to get up to the town.
And that's expensive. To regulate the public exhibitions and events of every kind.
So I think even even a concert, you still could have an ordinance, but you still want the council to weigh in and say yes or no.
Which that makes me wonder if keeping the rest of that that section, so that it would read to regulate the public, that's a new word, exhibitions and events, new word, of every kind, not interdicted by law, and to regulate, restrain, or license vendors and peddlers. So maybe we just keep that all in there. Does it need to be changed, I guess is my question.
You could take itinerant out, but that doesn't.
Oh yeah, I didn't even say that word.
Yeah, yeah.
I know.
It's so.
Take out what?
Itinerant,
Yeah.
yes. To regulate, restrain, or license vendors and peddlers. Can we take the word peddler out? Isn't a peddler a vendor in today's world?
I would think so.
Mhm.
Does vendor include the people though that have businesses on the street? Because you don't license.
But they've already gone through a process, right?
You mean,
Yeah.
If you've got a restaurant that wants to put tables and chairs out on the sidewalk, they would come before the city council for permission on that. They just can't set up.
it's public property, right?
Yeah.
First of all.
I know Lagos did that with us.
Yeah.
Tasting Center did it.
Do they come in front of the council or in front of zoning
They came before the council.
council?
Food trucks that are coming to the say at water funds.
They did.
And you also have your your, like the Legion sets up with to try to raise money on Main Street. They come before the council.
Coin drops?
Yeah.
That comes before the council.
And that should be. They could, well, I guess that could be considered an event as well.
Right.
Well, if we said, and to license vendors at said events, then that would cover businesses, food trucks and everything as vendors at those events, right? Because we can't just say vendors, businesses and organizations, because that reaches outside of the scope of this clause, which is just dealing with public events. So
Okay, so now it would read, incorporating that. So it's gonna be one of the roles of and responsibilities of the city council is to regulate the public exhibitions and events of every kind, not interdicted by law, and to regulate, restrain, or license vendors at set events. I'm happy with that. Comments?
What about state statute?
What?
Does anybody look at state statute? Because every single town does not have this in their charters. To have charters, they are allowed to adopt ordinances. And yet, without a charter, there's a default mechanism in state statute.
Yeah, I looked at state statutes. I'm not real crazy about, you know, the power state statutes give to the council. We can alter that if we want to, so.
Say open municipality may adopt, amend, repeal, and enforce ordinances or rules for any purpose authorized by law.
Right, which is kind of what the first paragraph is getting at.
I mean, so we could change to that, but there's a lot of stuff if you keep going down there and I'm not.
Yeah, right.
In the state statute. So.
All right, I'm happy with 3. Dennis?
Mhm. Yeah.
Danny, Mike, Charlie?
Mhm.
Okay, let's move on. Do we need to keep riots, noises, disturbances, or disorderly assemblages, whatever that word is?
That's the police department.
That's all police department now, right?
Yeah.
What I was thinking. Next one. 5,
Same thing.
police department, 6. Oh yeah, the House of Ill Repute here.
Hmm.
Doesn't that come back to a sign of the times? To compel the owner.
So I think 6 is covered by an ordinance, is what I was talking about earlier. You got a house that's falling down.
We have one of these main streets.
We have several in town, and I know that every once in a while they'll do something.
Is that zoning?
Yes.
Okay, so 6 is zoning, 5,
Yeah,
okay.
6 is
7, slaughterhouses, markets, manufacturing, blacksmith shops, sewers, and private drains. Are we done with that one?
Mhm.
8, keeping of gunpowder, gone. Made me think we were back in Lexington,
That'd be zoning.
yeah, and not, and my little notes here.
But excuse me for just 1 minute, don't the zoning rules go before the council to be approved? The
Dennis?
zoning rules go to, or ordinances that are established. Council approves them and then they become.
If there are
part of the
new ones?
ordinances.
Yeah, but
So that's a power
okay,
that you still have.
first sentence says, shall have the power to make, establish, alter, amend, or repeal ordinances. So
So it's right there.
you're still keeping that. Up.
Hmm.
You just don't have to name every one of them. Right?
Okay,
That work? That answer your question?
well, I thought that was establishing, the beginning part and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, et cetera, was which ones you are allowed to make regulations about.
I think you should be able to make record. This gives us power to have a say on all of them, which I think the council does.
And Dennis, zoning, when you do something new in zoning, it comes before the council, right?
Yes,
Because that's what,
yeah.
and that's in that first paragraph. Okay, that brings us to 9, and I wrote down next to 9 that this is zoning and this is fire department. Is this, and not necessarily, this is not a role or a responsibility of the city council. And we have,
Yeah, you also have the fire marshal too.
and we have a fire marshal in the state now too.
Can we just go back to Ann's point, really fast? And I see what you're saying, and so it comes down to the language of, for the following purposes, right? So instead of just, because I can do agree with you actually on that point, but I would say you can move in that language and make it a little stronger by saying, instead of saying for the following purposes, could we just outline which departments the council can make? Would that fix it? So we said ordinances that, ordinances to be enforced by the following departments or something like that. And then, talk about zone, talk about.
It may depend on how broad you want this. I mean, if
The order
you could just put a period after of the state,
Yeah, I mean,
and then you don't need anything else.
Of the, yeah, well, that's kind
yeah,
of.
then you can cross out everything after that, and that's the powers of the city council.
So you're proposing back at that, so it would read not inconsistent with this charter or with the Constitution or laws of the US or this state. period.
And then really, unless there's something we feel really strongly about in this list of 32 clauses that the city council should be doing, then we can just strike all 32 of these out.
No, I got a couple that
You're
I,
gonna have to add some.
that I think need to stay, or
Then-
pieces of it need to
Then
stay.
it would probably change the language at that point to be like,
Yeah.
including,
I made a note here with what you're saying, clean up language to make it stronger, and I did put the period there. Let's wait until we get through all of the rules and regulations when we cross-reference with the other work and see how we feel then.
So do we have an ordinance that regulates, for instance, number 3 that we were talking about? I don't think we do. I think it goes to the council, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, they always bring parades, they bring vendors, they bring everything in front of us.
What I mean.
That's
You
just,
should have one from years ago because you established the fines. There are the, fees.
in the ordinance.
We may have to check that.
Okay, you gotta,
there is a vendor ordinance.
I'm gonna,
So I have to ask an uninformed question because I'm not informed on this. Does anybody know exactly how many ordinances we
no idea.
Over 130,
Okay,
I think 150 some odd. But that, they keep on numbering when you do a revamp.
Okay, I got this down, Charlie. Check out the city.
And they are numbered.
Of course I did.
Yeah, so if any of these are an ordinance, they're covered by an ordinance.
You could check it out. You could change it to including,
yeah, that's what
So
I'm
that-
thinking.
so that if you put it in there, it's not a problem, and if you leave it out, it's not a problem. Because you're
Yeah.
just including some of the major things.
Tell me where to put that word.
At the end,
So
after state.
United States,
That's probably a good
United States
idea.
or this state, including.
Yeah.
Instead of for the following purposes, including.
But,
Yeah.
also the city council powers include more than just
Oh, yeah.
ordinances. So when you put that title on 23 of powers, it seems to limit, the city council to just ordinances.
Yeah,
I'm gonna come back to that. I have a.
That's why I said let's, because we've
Yeah,
all
let's
done
get
our
through
homework
it.
on this. So I got a whole
I got
list
mine
of things
too.
that we should add to this.
Me too.
So let's get to
Okay,
that.
and number 10.
So you're absolutely right.
Okay, that's police.
Mhm.
11.
Yeah.
11, I made a note here, Dennis, on 11, that's zoning, right?
Yes.
12,
Cops.
yeah, I had to look up those words, to be honest with you. First. 13, cattle, strike. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
No,
That-
but what about so dog licenses,
That's an ordinance.
ordinance, okay?
Mhm.
State law.
Oh, it is,
Mhm.
yeah, okay.
But we have you got a license then. and all.
Yeah. 14. Oh, that's the bathing in public, we can get rid of that one. Bell versus- that was another, I put, is that zoning there too, Dennis?
Which one?
15?
15? Yes. Some of that could be, public works. When you're dealing with sidewalks,
I put that down too, yeah. But it's not the role or responsibility of city council, is it,
no,
for number 15?
no, that should be.
Now, this one, you said that, this for 16, you said that licensing restaurants, like restaurant owners or anybody like that, that's not before the city council?
Mhm.
So we keep that one?
But wait, do we keep, we don't have to keep 16 in because we've made reference to that in the open, right?
I'm
Well,
not so sure that's not an ordinance. So.
Oh, I was wondering if that's under state law.
Which one?
16.
So liquor licenses are under state law. The requirement is they have to go before the council
Yeah.
or to the select board.
Yeah.
For approval prior to getting final approval from the state. Some Department of Health licenses
Oh, yeah.
that, like, I don't know if they're regulated. Like, hotels and stuff.
Okay.
I think they are. Yes, they are. And same with, uh, any of the, anyone that takes people in over a certain capacity is regulated under the Department of Health.
I'll bet you they've got ordinances that cover that. That's what I'm gonna ask. So I put that down as a question. Probably have to look through our ordinance.
Yeah, it's something you should.
Okay, so do you want me, I'm gonna put this one in our blue, our color coding thing here. When we highlight it in blue, it means we gotta come back and. So we need to check an ordinance on
And
that.
there's also zoning regulations, you can't have,
Right.
fire somewhere,
Well, we gotta clean up some of this language, so Vic,
I what I think,
Victualizing, like
what I
that.
think happened is most of these, they didn't have ordinances back when this was.
Right.
So most of these now are covered,
by an ordinance.
most all of them are, and that's what we need to look up, which
Okay, so I'll make a note here.
is a good homework project.
I'll make a note to check city ordinance.
Fireworks. That's. So fire department takes
Yeah.
care of it.
Mhm.
You know, that's- the city council has to approve, but you're gonna have fireworks.
Right, that's
So,
right.
I don't know if there's an ordinance involved in that or not.
Yeah, I put down zero law on that one.
Yeah.
Because we've never been able to do fireworks and legally firecrackers either, correct?
Not.
As a public, I mean, as a
not-
private
as a private
citizen.
citizen. They, I mean, they do it, you know, you're not.
you can purchase fireworks in the state,
Mhm.
start selling to anybody.
Mhm.
City ordinance doesn't allow you to throw it.
Well, you have to get permissions from the municipal, the local government.
It's all the time.
Yes, so it was happening last night.
Last
Mm.
night, hear 'em? They were loud.
So we might want to check that too. I think a lot of these will just, and we must have a book of ordinances somewhere, you
Mhm.
know?
Right.
Yeah, we should check it out.
You got in the city clerk's office, that you don't have a cookbook. The last cookbook, I think, was when I was on council. It was 1980.
Yeah.
Really?
You're old. Wait a minute, you were on council when I was. Never mind.
No, I preceded you, Joe.
But at the same time.
All right, so I put that one in blue as well. And I'll add another check city ordinance on 17 as well.
This other thing is. That's two for farms. I don't know, Cartman, we had Whistling Rufus in town, remember that? Anybody go
Who?
back that far?
Who?
Mike does,
Whistling who?
Whistling Rufus, we had a guy with a cart.
Yep.
Cartman.
Oh, that's before me
He
then.
had a whistle,
Really?
he'd go down Main
What
Street,
was this?
whistle. and
What
cars
year?
would
Tell
stop
me what
for him.
year.
When I was a kid,
The office is not straight.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, but I mean, we actually had a guy with a.
Horse and buggy.
Fine. And he was peddling his wares with it?
And he used to have a whistle and he whistled, they call him Whistling Rufus. That wasn't, his name was,
I love those kind of stories.
Ploof, his last name was Ploof. Archie Ploof or something like that.
All right, number
That's how
18.
old I am. I remember that when I was a kid.
18 is no longer correct.
Right.
19,
That's the one I'm talking about. The license, so that would be taxis. public vehicles, buses must be.
Is it our role and responsibility to license all those people?
No.
Somebody does license taxis.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's the state of Vermont, right? Gotta get a jitney license. right?
that's through the state. It's not through a city
But I
council.
do know that Burlington has their ordinance. And they have an ordinance on Uber drivers too.
That's, yeah.
Okay, so that.
But there is state law on Uber drivers because we had to give an exemption.
Ah,
But there is a state law.
there is.
I'll look at it.
And like, what about the transit, such that it is the transit system?
RCT.
Yeah, yeah.
So
that would be
RCT
under-
is private? What is that? What is RCT?
It's not a problem.
It's a nonprofit. But it's not under our jurisdiction. Well, I mean, it's not a role or responsibility of the city council.
No licensing happens through city council.
No idea. I don't know.
That goes beyond the city of Newport. RCT is regional, so I'm thinking probably state would cover that.
And their funding comes to the department. The agency.
Even says here to regulate their business, but it says then other public vehicles. So. Is RCT a public vehicle?
Mm-hmm.
Because it out to the public. right?
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to look into that one.
Do we even have any more taxis in Newport?
Well, there's a guy riding around with an orange.
It says taxi on the side. Now I've
No,
been
whether it's a real taxi, I don't know. I noticed it a couple of weeks ago. Nothing I'd get in, but it's there.
All right, to prescribe the powers and duties of watchmen and police officers of said city. Now, that's gonna come up when we look at the cross-referencing about one of our jobs. One of our roles is overseeing, I think is the word. But as far as here, to prescribe the powers and duties of watchmen and police officers,
Strike watchman.
definitely strike watchmen.
Watchman would fall under a private, like, Columbia Forestry to have a watchman. Yeah.
I'll keep
Just
the
for
other
their own
part.
property.
To prescribe the powers and duties
I'll keep the other part.
of police officers.
Mhm.
But do you actually prescribe the powers of police? Police powers, I think. the
Yeah.
police Powers are
To determine,
determined by state law.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So I don't know that actually any of that applies.
well,
Well, it's gonna
The
come up
duty-
here.
the
I'd like to
duties
word
may.
it a lot better here.
so I can give you, for instance, we were having a lot of break-ins back, a long time ago. Decided that, the city council decided that we're gonna have the police department start checking doors and walking every day. So.
Doors of businesses on Main Street type thing?
Yeah, I'm sure they don't do that anymore, but I mean, they used to. We used to have foot patrol in this town.
Mhm.
We used to have bike patrols in this town, all required at the time by the city council. We just decided that we should have that, so I don't know. I mean, you should have some say over it, so I don't know how you think of it.
But the way the opening clause is written gives the council the power to do that. So from time to time, if there's something happening, you can, by putting including, you can.
So make established.
It's
Yeah,
not-
alter,
it's-
amend.
right.
Yeah, but
You're right.
including is not
Okay.
exhaustive,
Right,
right?
That's
So-
yeah,
I agree, okay.
perfect, yep, that's there.
Yeah.
That covers us if that were to happen again.
So you're gonna strike 20 then?
Strike all the 20, okay. It's gonna come up later again. Okay, to provide for lighting the public streets, that's not a role of the city council, is it? That's public works, right?
public works, zoning. I guess it depends on what it is.
Provide for lighting of public streets, places and highways.
It's public works, but it generally comes before the council at some point, like the lighting on Causeway, that's all been changed.
Yeah.
That all comes before the council too.
But we can leave that. It's not gonna hurt. Like the inside, it's like it's included.
Yeah.
But generally it comes before the council because of funding. And that's usually with, it involves grants.
I mean, some of it you don't have any say over anyways, because the state controls.
Mhm.
We're gonna put lighting, we're gonna put stoplights on the causeway because it's a state highway. In the intersection, because we feel that's safe and we're just gonna do it. We can't tell them no.
You did develop a project up on, Hobbitville Road, like that came before, and so was discussed the last 4 years.
Is there a light up there?
I don't remember how they resolved it, because there was a conflict with the whole thing. But it was addressed by the council, because we do have to pay for the lights. Public lighting.
Oh, if it's a public place and it's not, and it's on, city doesn't light it, they can request it.
But you can get one removed by calling citizens. I did that.
So should we put to provide for or to regulate? Or what,
To provide for makes it sound like the city pays for it.
the city has to do?
Yeah. It has
But I,
to
yeah.
actually like pay the money and. the
Regulate.
labor, but, yeah.
To regulate instead of provide?
Mhm.
Are we gonna live with that? Okay, I gotta strike through and then I'm gonna add that.
May I say something quickly? I'm just thinking from the standpoint of like being on the financial and fiscal practices task force. You have to remember that, excuse me, you have to remember that we are looking at ordinances, certain things that happen with the city. So listening to this conversation, I think that, you know, when you look at things like 20 and 21, these ordinance have to come from somewhere. So the council kind of has the last say. Remember that the city council is the overarching, in a council manager form of government, the council has to approve this stuff. So whether it comes to the police department, the public works department, any of that stuff, the ordinances have to be approved by the city council. So it's possible that you could put some of this stuff all in one section to that end, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's just it's just a thought, that it might be an easier way to say some of that, because the city council isn't telling people where to put the lights or the sidewalks or the highways. We're creating
Right.
ordinances that help. So that's just.
But it's also in that opening paragraph, the ordinances, and you know, and what we're doing is we're updating.
Yeah.
So thank you, Lori, for that comment.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
let's move on.
I also have a section that I'm looking to add that might encapsulate a lot of this.
Yeah.
If you just put property management as a duty, general oversight and control of city-owned property and affairs. It's the one word thing. pretty much.
So that's where, so since we're on number 22.
Yeah.
Just one thing on 21.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you change that from providing to regulating, but the city does provide lighting. You ask DC to put a light out somewhere, the city does pay for that.
So should we keep the word provide in there?
I think so.
To provide and regulate? or just
Well, then
provide?
if you're gonna regulate, that means that, so I pay for 2 lights through VEC at my store on telephone poles that I pay for, the city doesn't. So the city, do you want the city to regulate that?
Do you?
Maybe, I don't know.
Do you as a business owner?
I don't see a need, but I could see a need where someone would ask for a light to be put up where it could be detrimental to an adjoining property owner because it shines in their venue. So
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, I could see both sides of that.
Yeah. And as I kept saying last week, we don't know what we don't know 50 years from now.
That's
So
why
we
I
want to
think,
be.
just a general statement.
But again, you still have that ability to do that even though it's not prescribed in the including,
True. Oh, that's true too.
right?
Because we put that word
Because when you
including.
put in, you don't even need the word including. But if you do and you want to put some examples in, that's fine, but it's non-exhaustive. So I mean, that provides the council with broad powers. So if there's, things that you really want up front for people to know, that's where we should place them in this. But, all the other minutia that's in here that you can strike and you still have the power to do that if it's relevant.
So that's kind of what I was getting at. So if we took like 20, a lot of those are public property and parks, trees, blah, 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 blah. So if we just put a general statement in there, saying that one of the duties, including whatever, property management, semicolon, general oversight and control of city-owned property and affairs. Does that cover everything?
The owned property and what?
And affairs.
Still didn't get the last one.
Affairs,
With the affairs.
A-F-F-A-R-S.
Okay, right, thanks.
What do you mean by property?
All of what we're just talking about, putting lights up,
But
whether people can destroy parks, trees, I mean, wouldn't it come under all of that stuff?
I mean, like public property management.
yeah, that's where I'm.
So I pulled that out of the Vermont state statute.
Talking
One
about
of the things.
private property or public property.
I see what you're saying. It's 25.
Says
is getting
control
into
of
that.
city-owned property and affairs. Do we have property management over private property? I don't think so.
Well, what about like?
Not yet.
You do if it's trashed or
We have ordinance.
a junkyard.
We have ordinance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an ordinance, right?
Or what about
And
like
zoning
Mike's
too.
example of a light that was put up, that was like either shining into somebody else's house or that was making, that was like causing like traffic issues, like it was too close to like a stoplight and it was making the stoplight difficult to see or something like that.
So my guess is when we get into those kind of matches, they're gonna be coming in front of the council and wanting us to do something. And so do we have the power in here somewhere to do something?
Yes, because you already.
Because of that
Power.
very first. Okay,
Under-
so we're gonna keep 21 with provide instead of regulate? Maybe we're getting hung up on a word here.
I think we just put one general thing and cover all the next section. I mean, but.
Okay, so
that's up to
20,
you guys.
what, 22, so that's trees, shrubs and plants. Public or private, it says in here. And to prevent and punish trespassers it's not our job to do the punishing. There's gonna be ordinances on that, right? On 22?
After.
Oh, I'm looking at
convenience-
25. Okay.
Yeah, 22.
convenience.
Say that again, oh, sorry.
Oh, he said, where was it? And I said,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
after convenience.
And then 23,
So if I go cut a lilac off your tree,
oh, well, you had,
city council's gonna get involved in that.
no, I can handle you myself.
Big handed.
That's where law
I love my
enforcement
plants, is
comes
what
in.
he's getting at, my flowers. And the burying of the dead.
You guys don't think we can just put a generic thing in there for that?
Okay, let me,
I mean, other than going through each,
can you, give that to me again? I'm gonna put it in here. Wait, I'm gonna put it in below just a minute. Okay, dictate, please.
it's just a property management colon,
Okay,
general oversight and control of city-owned properties and affairs. Yeah, if we're talking about property, we just, affairs would be events.
okay, general oversight.
Anything that has to do with the city would be an affair of the city.
Okay, I'm still back on and control of,
City-owned property and affairs, and doesn't like the affairs, but
we'll just get it down here, okay? Period.
I got that out of something, I don't remember now, but I like it. So that's what I'm-
So that is so what you're saying is that's a role of the city council is to become a property manager?
I think I would be comfortable if it was public property. I think property manager denotes, I mean, it's so general, what does it mean? Does it mean private property? Does it mean public property? Like, it's just.
City-owned properties, which is.
General oversight and control of city-owned property and affairs.
Yeah, I guess. But do we need to say property management at all then? Can it just be the second part?
Oversight. Yeah, I think I like that better, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So then we can strike,
All the flaw. Correct, down here, that's not pointed out. So I guess that goes under general oversight. I'm okay. I just think that encompasses a whole bunch of this stuff.
saying that, I'm striking out 23,
Well, so
22, sorry.
22, I possibly 21, I'm just not sure.
Yeah.
I would think that general oversight and control of city-owned property and affairs would also have to do with lights.
Mhm.
That's why I said, all of these could go under that one heading
24.
without being.
Okay, 23, I think we have to not include in this class.
Yeah.
But 24, I think would maybe.
Hold on.
Maybe not.
Strike out.
Those are records.
Public records,
No,
which is handled by the
23 is
clerk, right?
Okay.
The city clerk, so.
23.
But what you just said about general oversight, this is a kind of a technicality, could wait, but I'm gonna put those words on 21 instead, and then 22 is automatically crossed out.
Then you have to bring up the rest.
Yeah, I know. That's the nightmare, that I have to sit in quiet at my desk and not have anybody around doing it, because I get up. Kind of like report card time, everyone's scattered.
Can I ask you whether or not we regulate in any way the lighting on state highways or state places?
I don't believe so. I think state.
Right? Wouldn't they?
Like when the state highway comes through one of our city streets, who regulates that, the lighting on those streets.
It has to be approved by the state. You can't do anything like that. Like you can't change, you know, the three-way stop to a four-way, which it should. On the end of Main Street, pet peeve of mine forever. Even when they did it. But the state has to approve anything on the state highway, correct? Well,
I don't know.
so you have Route 5 going through downtown,
No,
between the school,
that's not downtown, this.
well, but it's
Main Street.
Main Street,
Yeah,
where you-
Main Street.
Where the,
So-
where the
No, I-
residents.
Yeah, but I mean, we want to put a crosswalk across. We want to change the speed limit through there.
And you
Yeah,
couldn't.
State has to, yeah,
State have,
that's what I'm getting.
But I
That's a
don't
state
know,
highway.
but I don't know because the city actually controls the highway. I mean, even though this is Route 5, the city controls that.
They mean,
You plow it,
Plow it.
you
they
maintain
maintain
it.
it, they pay us to do that, yes.
So, and you rebuilt, going up by the water tower, that was what the city built out that.
With the permission of the state.
but we paid for it, didn't we?
When I had to get the truck ordinance, it took this.
Yeah.
It had to go through the state. I mean, so anything to do with the state highway,
But did you get, like, when you changed all the lighting on Main Street, put these lights in,
Mhm.
did the city have to get permission to
Mhm.
put those lights into?
Yeah.
Really?
and then the signage that, like for the truck ordinance, which was interesting back in the day. But, the state gave the proposal, and then the state paid for all the signage. All the college, and to take care of that, and no trucks, and all of that stuff, it's all done by the city. But they had to be a partner in the whole thing. The state pays so much money per mile of state to maintain the properties. So we maintain them, but we don't get out of control of widening the street.
And don't forget that I think it's 23, 24 that we discovered that the city owns the elementary school property unless
Yeah,
I.
don't worry, I haven't forgotten that.
Okay.
That's my baby.
Yep.
About the what?
Coin toss.
What about them?
They're on state highway. Do you get permission from the state for the coin drops?
No idea. I'm guessing no.
I don't think so.
And you know what? If the state really cared about it, they'd come after us, wouldn't they?
Yeah. They don't care.
I don't think so. And I bet Derby Line doesn't get it, or Derby doesn't get it when they do Main Street.
In 23, do you regulate the burial of the dead? Council,
I don't think we do we?
State regulations out.
but the rest of it, you probably do.
Preserving.
That's-
You
statistics.
preserve.
And that's down in the city, I made note of that. It's in the city clerk's office
It's regulated by the state.
Statutes.
by state statute, right?
Might be federal too.
But it's not a role and responsibility of the city council, is it? Keeping track of all of that data. I mean, I love that data, but
No, that data should be in the clerk's.
yeah. Okay, so 23, it looks like we can strike that. 24, we're keeping 20. Okay, let me get this. Okay, Charlie, take a look.
I'm not so sure that's not, largely for zoning responsibility. But I don't know if we should.
Wait, that's not a city council thing. That's the city treasurer, city clerk's office.
Not the regulation part of it, but keeping of records, statistics,
Right, but then when you move to 24,
and that's still city clerk.
that's city clerk, because that's gonna come at, that also is redundant in here. That's one of the, it's in that city clerk section as well, the same, pretty much the same wording. So that's not a city council
Yeah,
thing.
so if we do this, so we have to, so let's say we strike this out, do we put a note in there and move to another section in the charter for, highlight for the state when they review it, so they know that we haven't taken these duties out, we just moved who's responsible.
I'm gonna make a note of that,
Yeah.
so we can deal with
You know what I'm
that.
saying?
Yeah, you could,
Just have it like in purple, say move to the clerk.
Put that on the city
Something
clerk
like
section.
Yeah. Because that's what they're gonna.
They're
look
gonna
for.
wanna know,
So They're
right?
looking and we struck that out and they said, well, that's kind of important. So well, they can read that.
you
and
could
move
just
to.
put your piece under it, says move to section, whatever.
If we're individually going to approve sections, and
We're not gonna do it.
That's gonna be one reason why that would really be cumbersome and not work.
unless you didn't move things. In other words, you could, in amending, you could change the wording of a section, or you could add to that section. But when you subtract something from that section and move it elsewhere, you have no guarantee that that section that you're moving it to is going to be approved by the public.
Good reason not to do it piecemeal.
Good reason to not do that, not to move stuff
But,
out in that fashion.
but in this situation, this is under a role and responsibility of city council, and it's not.
Well, you create the regulations for it, though. You tell them how to keep the records, don't you?
I don't think we do.
Not at all.
I think
State.
the state.
Yeah.
The state does, but you don't necessarily want the control of how regulation within the city to be the city clerk's office, because the council's the main overseer. To be honest, if you're gonna strike this, I would strike every single subsection and just do your introductory category. The other cities and, will literally have the towns in the state manage to do ordinances. And the power to do the ordinance is with the council. The enforcement is not. So all of the things aren't, they're gonna come before the council if they don't get, whatever public works or the city clerk.
But that's the problem when this says to regulate. So
But I
the
think
regulate is the
regulate-
power to control the whole thing, and
Yeah,
it's
but I
not the
don't,
city council.
I think you would do better not to limit it and just keep it as general. And then, default, check and make sure what you've got, but you've got to, if you do it, you can only amend existing ordinances on these things. I don't know, I didn't prepare for this meeting, so I have no idea. But I think this state statute has to address it. And that you're doing a micromanagement that is really phenomenally interesting, but should not be in the charter.
Yeah, there you go. It is interesting, and it's historic and all that,
That's
but
right. You haven't seen this because I didn't show it to you. This really summarizes the duties versus getting into the weeds.
Yeah.
Like legislation, drafting, debating, and passing city ordinance and regulations. It's just real short and sweet. It
Yeah.
covers, you don't have to say which ordinances, how many ordinances, whether it's for trees, whether it's for shrubs.
One of the things is you're one of the few municipalities that can effectively force a landowner to clean the property in front of them with snow.
But
You
That's
have
the
that,
ordinance, that's the ordinance, right?
The ordinance, it's never become an ordinance, but it's a power.
where are these ordinances?
Go down to the city clerk's office.
So this kind of goes back, I think what we're saying is this goes back to that question of do we need to be doing any of this? Or like Mike was saying at the beginning, can we just say the first clause and then all of these sub clauses, we just don't need them because they are redundant. When we have, not we, but when the city council has the power to create ordinances, all of this is just,
You're right, and so then when you cross-reference the work of the first proposal that went down, I guess I would much rather, instead of all this nitpicking and all these little things, to me, it's far more important that the city council is overseeing the mayor, and that we have a check and balances, and those are the roles and the responsibilities of the city council. Not all this, these are ordinances.
Well, the council.
But we've got that stated.
Yeah, but the council is like the legislature. Right, you're the
Right.
legislative body.
Right.
So legislatures propose laws, right?
Yeah.
So you write the law, but you don't enforce them. That's
Right,
up to the mayor and the administration that's under the mayor, like the governor. They provide for the regulation, all of that.
okay,
And same with budgets and all of that. You set them, but you don't tell each department how to do something.
right.
That's set. There's a mayor and city manager.
I've got 5 points. It almost covered almost. Let me speak for it. And that's kind of what I was thinking. I'll just read it real quick. So it says legislating, so you have bullets, what you do. Legislating, drafting, debating, and passing city ordinance and regulations. Next one, fiscal oversight, reviewing and adopting the annual municipal budget and approving the city's tax rate.
Yeah.
Next one was the property management portion. And then general oversight and control of city-owned property. Administration, appointing key city officials such as city manager, city clerk, or treasurer, and to manage daily municipal operations. Meetings, conducting regular public meetings, often to vote on municipal business with required public notice. So those are all short and sweet, but they are the duties of the council.
They are the duties of the council. In addition to,
Well, there may be some others.
yeah, and so then I have a few that would go right along with that, I think.
Yeah.
Using kind of the cross-reference of, appointing, directing, supervising, and removal of a city manager, city clerk and treasurer, city attorney, and city auditor. There's the whole harbor, appointing of a harbor commission. Is that a city, that's city council duty.
Mhm.
Serving as a water and sewer commissioner.
Mhm.
That's a city council.
Yep.
To consult with the city manager for the purpose, in executive session, for the purpose of sharing authority, at times of suspending or removing an employee. Or department head, maybe we go department head.
Employees, a little.
Employee,
Yeah.
oh, staff member, yeah. It's things like that I just think we need to make sure we're gonna have a check and balance, that one's not more, to check so that the city manager position when we get there is not yeah,
And the other one that you left out was what was expressed in section 10, which was the council approves all contracts,
yeah.
as opposed to
Yeah.
the city manager approving all contracts.
Oh, they're right here. I just didn't get down that far.
Okay,
But yeah, so in my
Right.
opinion, that's the role of the city council, is overseeing many of the other things and being a partner with or sharing authority with some of the other language I found. Just to say, but I agree. I think what you have down there, Charlie, is going,
Well, this is
Summarizes all
general, and
this.
you gotta add a few things to it. So, and when you were just saying that, I also had established water and sewer, it should be,
yeah.
Be members of the civil board and authority.
And-
Should be on there, because
Right.
that is duty of the city council.
And then, cross-referencing again, section 303, 304, a couple of those, without getting into the nitty-gritty, you just, and then couldn't we say in accordance with section blah, blah, blah of this charter? So it's the role that we are, that we have the role and responsibility of removing a city manager, if it happens, but in accordance with, and then it's spelled out in the city manager section. It's not spelled out in the city council section. It's just saying that that's our role and responsibility. Carrying out appointment arrangements. Oh, talking about, president of the council acts as, or whatever it was. If the city manager position becomes vacant, then it's the council's job to fill in accordance with section below of this charter. So you're not going into all the details, you're just listing what the roles and responsibility of the council is.
What I also saw, I read all 9 city charters in the city.
Of course you did.
Well, because,
Yeah, I know, because I know. I mean, I go through
I
it, but
just,
you read
I
it more
just did
carefully
it
than I
because I
do.
wanted to see, well, what do other people do? What did the legislature agree to
Yeah, that's.
when
a biggie.
allowing them to do that, because we have to do it. And what, we can say whatever we want to put in here, it still has to go to legislature.
Yeah,
and have to
exactly.
pass it. So I looked at some of the wording, some of the things that kind of stuck out, almost all of them. When you're talking about duties of the city council, it had a sentence in there similar to, and they shall have all the powers and authority given required of municipal
That's in, that was in the.
legislative bodies and under the laws of the state of Vermont, because if something changes, or if you omit something, say, oh geez, we didn't put that in our charter, so we don't have that power, but the state of Vermont says, yes, you do, then yes, you do. By having that sentence in there. I would never agree to, we're required to do everything that it says in the state statute. So there's a fine line. But we could put, that sentence seems to be in, or some variation, it seems to be in every charter that's, when they're describing the city council.
What sentence?
Well, I haven't got it complete, but basically the sentence would include, and the city council shall have all the powers and authority.
Given to and perform all duties required of municipal legislative bodies or city councils
Yeah.
under the laws of the state of Vermont, because that was what the rewrite had.
Yeah.
So,
And they all have.
so the city council is four alderpersons and the mayor.
Yes.
That makes up the
Yes.
city council.
Yes. It seems to be in every charter, if you read every one of them, you go into the city council explanation.
If that's
Kind of
the
has that
case,
sentence in there, and I'm thinking, well, that covers you for the stuff you forget. Because if you're trying to just put in stuff, and there is a
Or-
power that's granted to you by the state of Vermont.
Or
You didn't put it
whatever
in the
happens
charter,
in 50 years.
and
we don't
whatever
know.
happens next week.
And Mike
I don't know.
was saying in the last meeting that the state can, that goes before the state, a charter proposal. Even if it's been approved by voters, the state can go in and make
Yes.
changes. So I wonder if that language is included in every charter. It's not
Because
something
the
state
state,
felt
because
was
the state
Oh.
put it there,
Yeah.
that could be
Very
it.
well
because
could be.
I'm reading them, I'm laughing, because I'm saying, this is
Again,
pretty generic word.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
That's everywhere.
All right, so can we, can,
So if we did that, we could pretty much,
well, okay, so can we go back?
Yeah.
Let's start at 23, the way city council powers, that, I don't like that word powers, that's maybe roles and responsibilities or something like that, but, so we have that first paragraph now, including, or do we stop back at state, and does that mean we strike out, that allows us to strike out all of these because they are included under ordinances? I mean,
Or
there's still
regulations.
32 of
or
them,
regulations.
or regulations.
Yeah,
And we have that word, those words in there.
I am still in favor of striking them out. And then if we want to then like what Charlie's done, add in what, and you've done.
Yeah.
And say what we believe the powers to
Actually be.
as what they should be or what they already currently are. And I think what you and Charlie have done is a mix of both of those. What you, Sharon, and Charlie know to be the council powers, but also then foreseeing things like for the city manager. So I think it, and it would still flow. So like, I know Anne has brought up multiple times when the voters are looking to pass it and they're doing a side-by-side comparison. Just, I think it would be easy for a voter to follow, striking all of the subclauses out and just putting in new subclauses.
general subclauses, and keep it simple.
And by having the strikeout, then the residents, the voters see what the original was and what's been.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's easy and Also, I do kind of feel like there is a level of, I think somebody used the term micromanagement earlier.
Yeah.
I think it's a good term.
Yep.
That it probably made a lot of sense in 1917, maybe even up through 1966. But I feel like as we move to this, what are we calling it? A
Manager, council.
council manager.
Yeah.
I think it's a little more specific and managing than.
Well, and we want more of a checks and balance type. thing.
Right, exactly. So like I said, I'm still in favor of crossing all of the subclasses out and
And it's not
replacing them with new subclasses as we understand the current.
I'm good with that too.
I'm good with that too,
Other than, so,
but we keep number 3 in,
Or is
public
it-
exhibition, or is that,
Is it covered under ordinance?
I think it is.
Yeah.
Because we even made a note, check on city ordinances.
Is it, could we, like, I mean, say no, but the answer is no, I just don't know, but the city clerk is open right now, right?
Mhm.
Could we just run downstairs and ask them?
that's the one.
if
For a
they're-
copy of the city ordinances?
If that's something that they have a physical copy of, or if it's something that's only
She's,
available.
very
But
much.
there's one which is the official record. I don't believe there's any copies.
Are there in any order of any such sort?
Adoption.
Seriously.
Order of adoption, so, okay.
And then you also have to include regulations and bylaws that we have, because you guys have
I'll
approved
just
bylaws.
Thank you.
We have bylaws too?
Of course.
I know, but where are they? Where are they?
Zoning bylaws.
Zoning, it's
Zoning.
called bylaws instead
Zoning
of
bylaws,
ordinances.
Frank has,
I mean, yeah.
they may even be, I don't know. if they're
Some of them
on-
are on the website.
Some of them.
All right, so that answers the question on number 3, then it can come
So
out.
can you, Sharon and Charlie, put together the language that you both have and then present it to us on Wednesday?
Yep.
I think then we can wordsmith it more if we need to.
I think that's a good idea. 'cause
So does anybody have, so I'm thinking we gotta put in water and sewer rates established.
Yeah.
Because that's the duty of the city council.
Yeah.
Civil Board of Authorities is duty of the city council specific.
Yeah.
There,
yeah.
So those kind of things, or anything else you guys can
The
think of off the
yeah.
top of your head that needs to be in there?
council, it's a member of the board of civil.
Right.
Yeah. I will say that what I did to come up with my list, I went through the proposal and wherever I saw the word city council, I stopped to say what are they referencing? And does that mean it's a role? And I put it down and I didn't add the details of how it was going to be done, just the fact that it was a role.
Right.
And then I said, when we get to this, we can say see section, whatever. That's what we'll do. So I have one line. That's what I did. But I'm also a bulleted type person. Like if you bullet it out, you can see exactly what the.
I did both of those
responsibilities are.
and I looked at the other charters and it,
That's a good idea. Let's do that.
only because it, you don't always have to reinvent the wheel. Some of them have worded it really well. They've had legal look at it.
Oh, you can tell just by the words.
You know, so,
You can tell just by the words they use because it's
Oh,
not
so-
our words.
Yeah.
All right, so
Oh, yeah,
Mike,
we
what
can
you're
do that.
saying is you'd like us to
Yeah.
put together the city council roles that we came up with, and then we'll present it and have a document to work from. I'm fine with that. You okay
So
with that?
on that note, I know that we had said at the beginning of this meeting that we wanted to just just really get solid on the role of the council before we move forward.
Mhm.
So other than admin, should we stop this meeting or should we,
Well, we're gonna do city manager
so
also.
city manager?
We'll start.
Yeah.
we'll start-
So we can stop that.
You don't think that not having the council down will interfere? with-
Nope. I know. And I think you had to start with the
Yeah.
city council and have this conversation, because I think this conversation was rich. And it's going to help us proceed from the city manager so that the city manager doesn't have sole authority over all of, a lot of what we just talked about.
Or there will be some powers that the city council has.
Yeah,
But we had to decide what the city council does before we could do it in there.
I
And
thought,
I think we have a decent enough idea having talked about it. But maybe as we come across things in city manager that refer back to, we'll just keep it in mind.
But we're gonna do.
I'm gonna chart it too. I'm gonna chart out mayor, city council and this, so we'll replace some of these.
Some of these affect what we were doing prior, when we were looking for duties of the mayor, because we had some of the duties that were for the council and some of the duties that were the city manager. That we had laid into the mayor, which is why we said, we can't have our
Well, and
charter said the mayor has these duties, so does the manager, so does the council.
and you know,
Either have them, unless they're all joint, and if you do, you put that.
people look at them.
Yeah.
Because we were in an interview and said, you realize your charter contradicts itself?
One of
Yes,
the
we do.
manager.
Yeah, they read them and they're looking at it closely.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're any different than a lot of, how many, there's 9
Yeah,
in the state?
9 cities. There's a whole bunch of targets, but some towns up there.
Oh.
I didn't get that. I just figured if I did all 9 cities.
All right. I'm fine with that. I've got it down. We'll get on that. Okay.
City manager.
And Pam, do you have any comments you want to make about the city council's?
That was kind, but you let us make a lot of them during.
We did, even though I said. we were-
I know, I just
We
want,
just
we're
make
all
sure
in
this
this
get out of
together.
Control, that's all.
I just want to make sure we're all in this.
Well, if it
together.
wasn't obvious, I was really frustrated Wednesday at the end of it. I just. That's what I felt like. And it wasn't all your fault. It was just that everything just.
I know I take blame
Maybe it
because
was
we
3
did
to
too much.
5. Maybe that was. the
That's
problem.
harder. That was harder than me.
Hey, Sharon,
Yes, so sorry,
One thing-
I didn't mean to be ignoring you there, Lori,
No, no.
sorry.
you aren't ignoring me. I'm working and listening at the same time. So, this I just wrote down as we were going through quickly. Number 7 is that referring to septic systems? Because remember that we do have properties in the city like mine that have a septic system, and the city doesn't really regulate that. It talks about drains, but
What are you
But
on?
this-
What are you looking
number
at?
number 7, duties of the city
Under-
council, number 7.
Under city council?
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 7, to direct the location and control of slaughterhouses, markets, blah, 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 sewers and all private drains. Is that, I'm just wondering how that falls, because the city doesn't, I mean, you have to apply for a building permit,
Under
right?
state.
So
Mike just
that
said
would-
that's state regulated.
right, that's right. So that was my
Not city
question.
council. Yeah, it's not a power of the city council.
I-
We could say what we wanted, but we're gonna get vetoed on that because it's a state thing, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if something comes up where the council needs to provide a permit or something, it doesn't preclude that, because if we're just stopping everything in the first clause and just putting in what you all write, then if something comes up that needs council's approval, then you have.
We're
to
covered.
do that.
Right there.
We're-
And I
Okay.
And I think some of it also falls under DRB, depending on what it is, where it is, how it's put in, all that stuff. So, okay, thank you.
Okay, city manager?
Now that's towards the end because we never had one for somebody.
Yeah.
That's the very last thing. It's 40 because we didn't have one. I mean, there was a city manager when I was mayor, so I'm not sure how far back they actually. went.
Uh-oh, she's got a smile on her face. Can't wait to hear this one.
They're only 121.
Oh, well, that's better than 130.
121 ordinances?
You got a list of them? What'd you do for us? Yeah,
Thank you.
maybe.
Yeah, we might, yeah. That's what you wish for.
See if I can do this right. Okay, that's good.
Anyway, they're in two very old books. And so there is sort of an index, city licenses, the peddlers,
Okay,
look through that.
good.
That's one. And the newer book is here. Those are the indexes.
A newer book. There's two books.
The two books. The older book is quite old. There's also a little ordinance book, but it dates from 1920. Just keeping it funny.
So
One would think that at some point in time, we would
put this
put
should all
these
be.
things in a PDF or something.
Oh, God, no, no, no.
Or
There is
not a
a-
PDF, but a.
There is a well-indexed book, if I can find it, which was done under, as I said, in 84.
But it should all be online.
that-
Like-
that would
But
do
that's
it.
gonna take some time, but that needs to get.
Yeah. And there's not much of a key as to what you're
Okay.
doing.
Yeah.
But one book is this thick, and the other one is that thick.
So this is but new book.
New book has the second page that is only just short.
All right, so before we, can I
And
just
also
say,
the current years.
how are those being preserved? Or, they're not, are they?
Huh.
And is that the only copy of those? Are those books downstairs? That's the only
Well,
copy?
that's the only official copy, yeah. I mean, they are
Is it in
doing
the
the
vault,
records.
so it's
Yes,
fireproof?
and, yeah.
So it's preserved somewhere.
Mhm.
So it is fire.
Okay, Still.
I can tell
Because
you
that
a
would
good story
really
about
suck.
that.
Huh? There are all this
Carol
stuff
and-
in the
and-
vault.
But there's a lawyer's office that had everything in the vault, and they had to fire. The only thing that survived was the Reader's Digest next to the toilet.
No, well, that's not good.
No,
I
but
don't
that,
think the books are allowed to be removed from that room, so if you
Right.
want to
You have to go down
observe
there.
them or Xerox them, you can in that room.
That's like birth certificates and
Yeah.
statistics and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're all copies of those certificates, things like that.
Yeah.
so if we had a fire, they would be preserved because that vault is fireproof?
Well, that's what she just said.
Yeah, it should be, as long as you don't have a fire inside the vault.
Here's the
Yes,
question.
if the fire's in the vault. it's good.
How can task force verify we're advising the council?
Just on his charter right now.
But because so much of what we're doing, especially with the city manager section, falls under ordinance, or has to do with ordinances, can we also recommend that at some point soon, they convert the ordinances to a digital file and make them publicly available?
Well,
Because I think
yeah,
just like.
I agree with you 100%.
Our work would be much easier if that were done.
Oh, yeah.
But the public also, I feel like.
But the problem we're gonna run into is who's gonna do it and how you gonna pay them?
So should contact the state archivist. County official. She can assist in how to do that, and there may be grants that the state has.
Yeah.
to preserve.
Oh, okay.
And equipment,
And
because
what's her title again? Cause I'll
She's the
bring this
state
up.
archivist.
not to get off on too much of a tangent.
I mean,
but
that's
there-
not.
No,
that's
but I'm
not
gonna, I
duty.
can bring this up
It's a
under,
great thing for the
and-
city
Yeah,
council to do.
I just.
And she,
can I bring this up under new business at a meeting?
Or you can ask the mayor to put it on the
Put it on the
agenda.
agenda.
Yeah, either way though, right?
I think.
Either way,
Secretary of
right?
State.
I think you need to talk to Jim. Jim wasn't there because I asked Stacy to ask Robin.
Yeah.
And she didn't have the answer, but we looked at the book, how many ordinances there were. And the revamps of ordinances like the water and sewer rates are changed, therefore, it is just a subsection.
Oh, I'm not supposed to have to do this.
Yeah, we could talk with them, but yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I can have.
I mean, I think, did you guys, have you guys
Stacy
done
have
that in Coventry? Probably not, you know, I mean, you don't think about that stuff until it's too late.
At the time when I was there, we were looking at microfilm. Everything's changed now. so.
Well, that's why I'm wondering, we have microfilm down there too. Is there all the stuff in there?
Why don't I make copies of those for all of you?
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, so I will bring that up at a council meeting.
Thank you, because
Yeah.
it does seem important.
Yeah, it is
And
important.
I think my experience, I think the state archivist, probably, there's equipment that will do that actually very quickly, and I think that it would really help
Yeah.
us.
I'll bring it up.
Sharon, Chief State Archivist is under the Secretary of State's office.
I know we do have some microfilm in that vault, but I don't know what it's of. I don't know if it includes,
I think they started with the land records.
yeah, that's what I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All we have to do is wait for Jim to get in and he can answer those questions. Stacy's on up.
Yeah,
And-
that's a good, but that's, again, that's really not this fast forward stuff.
Right, but I'll bring it up. That's a pencil thing. I'll bring it up.
Sharon, check with
Yes.
check with Carrie as well.
Yeah.
Because in some of the stuff that we've done in the last year, which is just a few, there is digital, there are documents out on the Google Drive, and she may have some other stuff.
Okay, otherwise we'll get that resource. Okay. All right.
City manager.
Okay. I feel like we got a better handle on this. City council.
So you and I get together and go, oh, we didn't really discuss it.
But the thing is, no one, the public won't hear our argument that much, John.
Exactly. All right, so
Okay, here's mine.
what's the current,
Wait a second.
what's your current one? Okay, so it's not very big. The current one only has 8 to 8 B.
Okay. So one of the bones of contention that came through loud and clear, and there were parts of it I totally agree with as well, was too much power being given to the city manager. Now, again, some of that is what we've been through as a city, the lack of trust, the not wanting to repeat history ever again with what we've been through, and trying to have the foresight to make sure that doesn't happen based on what we put into our ordinance here, our charter. I mean. That being said, I think that if we keep in the back of our minds a checks and balance, which is why I was in favor of starting with the city council first. That's where I'm coming from. So if we are having the task of updating the charter and not rewriting the whole thing and using good stuff, I think that probably the place to start is with what's right here in front.
We've got section 40.
And sorry, section 40.
In section 40, so A is a plot problematic.
Big
A is what?
problematic.
Because if we're gonna be a council manager form of government, then you don't appoint you don't, first of all, may appoint a city manager. You have to, I mean, I don't believe any city manager will take the job if it's simply at the pleasure of the city council.
They have until now.
They're gonna want.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
To roll along with it right until now.
And what we've done up to right now probably hasn't worked on it. I just think if you're going to get a higher quality person, you're gonna have to give them some built-in protections that, yeah.
okay, well, the
And
council,
for cause or something, some different saying in there than at the pleasure, that's an at-will employee. That's a pretty,
at the pleasure of the council.
Paid a consultant company
Yeah,
yeah,
who is adamant that not be what he was when he spoke to us.
that what? Say that
That the
again.
council should have the right to fire if they didn't feel that the city manager was doing what they wanted him to do.
oh, I agree with
Oh, that's a role.
I agree with that too.
But that's.
All I'm saying is,
That's fire at will.
you can do it because it's female, you know,
That's what at pleasure means.
that's what that pleasure.
that can get into a
You can do it,
personality
you can do it
Yeah.
because they're Jewish and you don't like.
So you're
So-
saying at will versus at,
No, I'm not saying anything
No.
except for that at the pleasure needs to be,
Yeah.
needs to be redefined.
At will,
Yeah.
yeah. Generally speaking, they are for cause, and then you have a
I say.
definition of that. And restriction. In other words, there's gotta be a reason.
Yeah.
And so you get somebody to leave their job in Tennessee and bring them up here as a city manager, and you're gonna say, well, we can fire you tomorrow if we want, for whatever, for no reason.
But
We don't have to tell you the reason.
it's
We just don't want you to.
a job, I mean, Vermont's at will, so isn't that just
What's that vote?
employment?
Yeah.
Employment's at will in Vermont, and the city manager is.
Without,
But you can't discriminate.
Right, that's I know, that's a civil, but I'm just saying, I don't think that this, if it's a paid position, if it's a job, I don't know, though, it gets into government positions, and I'm not sure if that's so.
it's management, that's different.
It just
You're
seems to
hiring
me-
management, you're not
Yeah.
hiring a company.
But they would, no, but they would still be governed by at-will employment laws, and they would still be governed by civil protections.
So I have to say that under 303 of the rewrite of the proposal, that whole section is on removal.
Yeah.
So the removal of the city manager is a power, right, response, whatever, of the city council, but then we have, and what this is saying is by an affirmative vote of a majority of the members, and it has to state the reasons for removal. So it's not just at pleasure.
I think we can change the language of at pleasure to just something.
Or
that
cause.
conveys, yeah,
You're gonna have to define cool.
Well, let's think about where that's more council. What are the roles of the city manager? To see the laws and ordinances are fully executed?
Yeah.
To attend all meetings of the council at which his or her attendance may be required by that body? To recommend for adoption to the council such measures as he or she may deem necessary or expedient.
Yeah.
To appoint, accepting as otherwise provided for by this act, all officers and employees of the municipality, and to perform the duties of such officers and employees as the city may designate. To appoint, accepting as otherwise provided, all officers and employees of the municipality. Didn't we say when, department head employment has to come in front of the council? So that it's
You and I did.
so it's a balance?
But that's what this is saying, except for the ones which would be the superintendent.
Except for what you put in
Yeah.
separate act.
Yeah.
But-
The council appointees stay the same in this clause. So the chief of police, the department heads, the fire,
Right.
people.
But I don't know if I like the wording of it. So it
To
says to appoint, accepting as otherwise provided by this act, which would cover, Jennifer. We'll just write that later. All officers, employees of the municipality, I don't have a problem with that, and to perform the duties of such officers? Is that the city manager's job?
that language appears, however, in the state statute and often in other things, that it says they're responsible for the duties that her or his, the city manager's officers and employees are providing or performing.
as the council may designate. I guess that covers my problem. I didn't read the last part of this. In other words, so I'm gonna fire the guy digging the ditch, and if nobody else is gonna do it, but I'm city manager, I gotta do it.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah. And you're responsible if the guy cleaning the toilets isn't cleaning them, who's cleaning them?
Yeah, I gotta go clean the toilets. Is that what that's saying?
Yeah, that's what it's saying.
Yeah, I'm not real fond of that.
Well, I think it's not really what it's saying. It's saying as the council may designate. So if the
the
council
end.
says, if the council says,
You gotta go clean. the
Go
toilet.
hire-
these toilets are out of control, somebody has to get in there and clean them right now, then it's the city manager's job to do it or to find somebody who does it. I think that's important. I think the point of this is a very important point. The city manager can't sleep on empty appointments. That's what it's saying. That like, just because an appointment is empty doesn't mean that things can't happen. The city manager still
Otherwise
has
you're
to
doing
be
it yourself,
responsible.
You have to make sure it gets done.
I kinda like it
And that just
myself.
like moves business along in, you know.
Well, if I'm told I gotta go clean the toilets, I'm gonna be hiring someone to do it, right? I'll call you there, Pam.
Yeah, right.
Okay, all things said, all joking aside,
It's
but
either and to perform the duties or to see that those duties are.
That's clear.
Yeah.
I like that a whole lot
okay,
better than
well, this
to
minute I
perform
wasn't
the
following you.
duties. I mean, just think about it. You're gonna, fire the police chief so that you're the
Okay.
police chief.
So start that again. Do you remember what you said? And to perform the,
And to see that the
And to
duties
see that the,
are performed.
yeah, the duties are.
and to see that the duties of such officers and employees are performed
As, yes,
as the city council, as, we gotta put the word city in there. These are all little things that we gotta put later, may designate. Are we okay with that one now?
yes.
Did I just add in? Are performed?
Could I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Please do.
Instead of the word see, how about to ensure that the duties are performed?
Like that,
I like
yeah.
that, that's good.
Yeah,
That way you're putting a little bit more onus on that.
Yeah,
yeah, I like that word better.
all right, hold on, I gotta put that into. Take that out. So to appoint, accepting as otherwise provided for by this act, all officers and employees of the municipality, and to ensure that the duties of such officers and employees are performed as the city council may designate. Done, that sounds a whole lot better.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you, that's good. To prepare and submit to the council such reports as may be required by that body, or as he or she may deem advisable to submit. You okay with that? That's what they're doing. To keep the council fully advised of the financial condition of the municipality as future needs.
Mhm.
To prepare and submit to the council a tentative budget for the next fiscal year.
Mhm.
To perform such other duties as the council may determine by ordinance or resignate or resolution.
Back to Sutton.
Seven.
Back to Sutton. It doesn't, if it's a requirement of getting the budget done, it should be done by a certain time frame.
You want to add that in?
Yeah, I don't know exactly how to add it in, but
By
And
no
in
later
other words,
than.
Huh?
By no later than. By no later than,
And it's got to be done in time for it to go into the annual report and be published in the annual report.
It also has to be prepared in time.
It's gotta come
for the
to council.
to-
Yes,
to Council,
Yeah,
the department heads to review it, changes to it. So that should be, what, 60, 90 days?
wait, that might be in the rewrite.
No.
Does, does the city manager work with the mayor in providing the budget?
No, well, no, department heads.
Right. I mean, generally when you have.
Nowadays, yes, because mayor is all power.
Yeah, but even
But, you know,
so, your mayor is still, would it be the city manager in coordination with the mayor? Generally, your mayor is your, like your governor, they present a budget to the legislative body,
Right.
which is the council, so wouldn't you,
No date in
you
here.
can say that the city manager in coordination with the mayor. So that you have eyes on it from the council.
Right. Just throw the baby out.
I think, hey, Lori?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be approved by the council for
No
sure.
check,
Right.
there's no check and balance early on. And the way the budget for expediency and for reality gets rushed through. If you've got an eyeball on it from get-go.
Yeah, I like that. So that would be like a joint, a shared thing.
with respect to the date, you really want to put in to 7 to prepare and submit to the council on a date specified by the council, a tentative budget for the next fiscal year, so that it can be a movable, slightly movable feast,
Yeah,
depending on when the council wants it that year.
that's a good point. So it's not as rigid.
Yeah, the council will at some point says,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna start working on the budget
We need
October
it by
first. we need
November
it by
1st.
such and such.
Right.
Okay, can we
I'm okay.
let's get
Did you have
into
a question?
just a second. We can get into print here, but with these comments. Mike's comment and Ann's, I think that's both gonna make number 7 very strong.
Yeah, I guess, think about who's the control. So is the mayor the control or is the city manager the control of the budget? Be the mayor in consultation with the city manager, so the mayor would then, the city manager put together a budget.
The mayor and the city council control the budget.
Well,
The city manager has to prepare it.
the mayor can present the budget with consultation of the city manager to the city council.
But it's the city manager really, I mean, I hate giving any powers to
Yeah.
the city manager, but it's the city manager who speaks to the department heads
Right.
and gets
Right.
their budget and gets it all together and then presents it to the council. So I don't know the role the mayor plays independently of that.
Lori, what were you gonna add from your finance task force point of view?
Yeah, so we've always kind of looked at stuff in towards the future of having a city manager that would actually do what Rick has been doing, with the department heads. I mean, in that first paragraph, the city manager is the administrative head of the municipal government. And in that role, the city manager and our Carrie, administrative and financial person, put together the budget with the department heads. They would do that groundwork to make sure that it's falling into place, and then bring that to the council, which includes the mayor. Obviously we've been operating in the last year and a half with the mayor doing that work. But as far as the task force is concerned, we've I believe that the ultimate goal is to make sure that things are in place when a new city manager comes in, so that the city manager takes over that role of
Right.
the budget. they're all correct. You know, what was said about making sure that it's done in a timely manner, that it can be presented, you know, as far as the task force is concerned, this is why we've been trying to move ahead with the city meetings, the type of budget that we're looking to move towards, instead of just the, you know, annual 3% increase, which, you know, whatever. But yes, it is really the goal to turn it back over to the city manager.
Okay, so the city manager will prepare, thank you, Lori, by the way, to prepare, and how did you say it, Mike?
City manager in consultation with.
Okay, so we would start it right there.
About the council, because I think, so in this form of government, it's the city council, it's a council manager, not a mayor council form of government, so it's a little bit of,
Yeah, but I think
where
what
we
he's,
are currently, it would have to be the mayor, but it should be council,
I think,
which the mayor is the head. I'm just,
right, I see what you're saying, but I think what Mike is saying is, before it comes to the council, it has already had the eyes of the mayor. So they're working that way, and then it does, it comes,
Then it comes to.
then it comes to the
The
council,
council has to approve.
and then we,
okay, what about city clerk's department? Clerk treasurer?
no.
Don't they report
What
to
do
him?
they have, what do they have input in the system? Or just all
Well,
departments?
it's part of it, that's gonna be a department, right?
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, you're changing that from an elected to an appointed position. If that change is made,
Right.
it just becomes a department that they have to provide what their budget's gonna be.
That's right.
So what is
The-
the board
the-
from department heads, the mayor and department, because you're gonna meet with the department head before. you-
Well, that's up to have the city yeah, that's what most city managers do.
Yeah.
But if we start this number 7 to incorporate, and then Ann, you're gonna be on too in a minute, be ready. With the support of the mayor to prepare and submit to the city council a budget for the next fiscal year. And then Ann, you had a good way of saying,
Well, mine was to prepare and submit to the council on a date specified by the council, the tentative budget for the next fiscal year.
a date submitted, is that what you said?
Dates
Specified.
Specified.
Specified by the council. Okay, so the responsibility is, with the support of the mayor, to prepare and submit to the council a tentative budget for the next fiscal year on a date specified by the council.
And that's with the support of the mayor. How is the mayor supporting
I
that?
would say just consultation,
Consultation instead of support, yeah, better word. Thank you.
because, I mean, the city manager can consult with the mayor,
Sure.
and the mayor can say, just go do your thing.
Yeah,
Or the
maybe,
mayor could be more involved,
Yep.
depending on what the
Style.
mayor wants to do, but.
Yeah.
And that the time may be determined by the two of them together if they want to, as to when it should be available. But it's all there.
it's
The
all,
council's also gonna discuss their.
that's much stronger.
For the next year, so probably wanna make sure that that's anticipated by the budget. So, yeah.
Should you put review in there?
Say what?
Should you put review in there? Because if the council negates their duties, that the budget's just gonna be created by the mayor and the city manager.
But it's got to be presented to the council
Is that in there?
to prepare and submit to the council.
And it's a tentative budget, it is not the budget.
Well,
Because
the budget's
For the
not
council
budgeted
for
until
approval.
it's approved by the voters.
Huh?
And do you want to put a place of involvement of the population other than just voting? And
Not probably
We don't
in
have-
this section, because
but it's got to be somewhere.
this is just a duty.
Yeah,
of-
but I hear what you're,
to get a
yeah.
budget.
Just so that we don't repeat history.
Yeah.
Time for presentation. Yeah, I gotta. One other thing, my country does have to do about trails, that we don't get to do that anymore. Okay, I like 7 now, are we all, can we live with 7? And then the last one says, and to perform such other duties as the council may determine by ordinance or resolution. This is all under A. The duties of the city manager shall be, okay. As the council may determine by ordinance or resolution. That's kind of a scary line in my opinion, if I was the one being hired. Because I think we've got a few other things
That
to look
part
at.
still from normal employment jargon, other duties as assigned, which most people's, if I went to the labor board or something, and I said, I was hired to do this, and then my employer made me clean the toilets, and that wasn't in my job description, that would fall under other duties as assigned, and I wouldn't have a case. I mean, that's just not normal
Mhm.
employment. I think that's just.
Because you've got the by ordinance or resolution in
Yeah,
there.
and it's not that they can just say you have to do this, they have to pass an ordinance. I mean, it would be.
Well, I think a resolution would be all they would need, which would mean they voted on it. And that's the duty you now have to do.
Mhm. But that's not so much different as, your boss saying, hey, I need you to do this now, and then, I mean, hopefully there'd be a dialogue, but,
Yeah.
if you just think of them as an employee, which they are, then I don't think that's far outside the scope of that.
Yeah, I agree. How about if we put such other duties as may be required by the city council?
Where is economic development?
As may be required.
Nowhere yet.
As may be required.
That has been a big issue with previous city managers. As,
I think that once we get through, we're almost to the end of this paragraph.
Yes, I know.
See what else may want.
Yeah, I think-
Well, then I personally want to cross-reference things.
Yeah.
What if we just put other,
And to
and to
perform,
perform such other duties as required by the city council?
So
by ordinance.
remember too that when you hire the city
Not a
manager, they're gonna be under contract.
Right.
A lot of these are contractual.
And they have a job
Pieces that-
description too.
Yeah, but I would think in their contract, it's probably gonna say from time to time, there will be other duties of the city council.
Well, then, can we just say perform other duties as outlined in their contract?
Have you looked at the job description?
I've got it here somewhere.
And have you looked at the contract?
Why?
Yeah, yeah.
Have a contract yet.
I like the wording, Charlie, as required by the city council, because it can change, I mean.
And it can change from contract to contract.
Mhm.
So you hire somebody and you go, up, I really should have put this in that contract. And the next time you hire them, you do, then the charter just as required by the city council.
Okay, I have the job description.
Or as may be required by the city council.
All right, tell me how you want this to read. And to perform such other duties as the council may be, as may be.
As may be required by the city council.
The position here has managing economic development projects.
Yeah.
In the contract.
Yeah, and the job description.
In the job description.
Not the contract.
See, I'm wondering when I read previous proposal that they didn't get into all of these specifics, why they get into those. Just because you're tying your hands by naming all of this, it's because that'll have to be part of the contract. So I'm just wondering, that's a question that I have, is why didn't they name all of these? They
In the
didn't,
proposal.
in the proposal, they just said that council shall appoint city manager under in accordance with the laws of the state. And that the manager need not be a resident of Newport. That's all they put.
Section 302 is powers of city manager.
Right. I'm wondering why is there a legal reason why they didn't?
But then under powers of the city manager, they have stuff like this in the proposal. The city manager may recommend specific candidates. City manager shall perform such other duties that are specified in this charter. The city manager shall be responsible for enforcement of all city. Now,
I think a lot of that's.
are those powers or are those duties? Those are duties, I think.
Roles and responsibilities.
Yeah.
When you talk about suspending or removing power.
Yeah.
Suspending or removing. Talking about suspending or removing the city manager, that would be the power, that would be a power of the council. I think we're just talking about.
No, but here I'm looking at the proposal
Right.
under A. It gives you city manager what power they have to appoint, suspend or remove all city employees and other companies provided for.
And I don't know what we're doing. So our heading up here on 40 just says city manager.
Right. I'm wondering if we shouldn't break it down.
To,
Well, like, we spelled it out here, so appointment and hiring,
oh, the way they're
powers
working
of the
it.
city manager,
Mhm.
then city manager removal and hearing.
Right, and that's where I was referring to, it's the role of the city council to remove the city manager as, and that's what I was saying, in accordance with section blah, blah, blah. So we do have to have that kind of a
Right,
removal
so-
section,
I'm just wondering if it reads better,
yeah.
so people understand, well, here's how you hire a city manager, here's what their powers and duties are. Here's how you,
So should we put it all under one heading, under city manager, and then A, powers, B,
sure,
that kind of thing, instead of having it bounce around, this bounced around a whole bunch of hard to read.
well, they've got the same thing here, in subchapter 3, city manager, that, they've got it broken down into subsections. You could do the same thing. for
Yeah, I mean, they've got
city manager.
vacancy, removal, powers,
Right.
hiring,
Yeah.
can't that all be in one?
I like
Yeah,
Mike's
yeah,
idea of
yeah.
the A being out there, how, well, the hiring part.
Right.
Do they have that in here?
It would be a liar,
A
Oh,
lot?
appointment and hiring.
Yeah,
The city council shall appoint a city manager under and in accordance with the laws of the state of Vermont, the city manager. Okay, so that line there we have under the city council responsibilities. That first line, under 301. Or at least I do. That was one of the things Charlie and I did. That was under myself.
Mhm.
But then it
So
says the
that's-
city manager need not be a resident of the city of Newport either before or after appointment. So that needs to be in there. I mean, it is in our current charter, isn't it?
but in the proposal,
Oh, wait,
Yes, it is.
under
The
city
last
council's
line.
duties or powers, you can
What's
say,
that?
under city council's
got it.
powers or city council duties, is that the city council shall appoint a city manager, period.
right, we've got that,
And then,
but we've got that.
We got that.
So you don't need that in the
Right.
city manager.
well,
Right.
well, you're just saying what the powers of the city council are, so now you're outlining here that the city council will appoint under in accordance with the laws. and the city manager need not be.
I'll put in the word powers here in parentheses and I will highlight that in blue, which means we need to go back. When it's in blue, we need to go back and determine what word we want. But it does show some consistency with what we just did with city council.
Yeah.
So I like the
rewrite?
8, no.
Oh, the original.
I'm not a real fan of the reason. We have to go back up to A
Mhm.
and describe that a whole lot better. But 1 through 8 we're just listing
Their job
their job.
or their responsibilities, duties.
And the contract will cover some of that too, but then the contract, if we state this, the contract's gonna require some duties to be in the job description, which it should. You know,
Oh, and we will require all of those things.
and
to be in the
it
job
should,
description.
and it should, correct? I mean, that's my point.
Your procedures should not really be in here. If you look at it as bylaws, you can't change them easily, but your policies and procedures. So you've got to decide whether it's something that should be firm and take legislative change or something that can be wishy-washy.
Just remember, this document, once it's approved by the legislature, it's signed by the governor, it's a statute, it's a city law. Right. So it's.
But if you're too vague,
It should not be in here.
if you're too vague about it, because this is what governs how the city council has to operate as well. You gotta have checks and balances on that. So if you don't have certain things that are really important, like, I mean, whose job otherwise would it be to see, I mean, the attendance of the city manager? Is that up to the council, whether that goes through that?
I guess I'm just a little confused as to what point we're exactly arguing right now. We've gone through most of 40 in the
Original,
charter.
yep.
And with a few wording changes, we've agreed that most of that stands.
Yep.
So at this point, are we talking about what needs to be added?
Yes.
Or, because I think if we just say up to the salary part, these are currently what our charter, these are currently what are in the state statute, this is currently what the charter says.
Right.
So unless we have a huge problem with any of the things, I think, we update the wording as we've discussed, and then we just add in if there's anything egregious that we think is missing.
I agree, that's kind of where we're at.
So, but what exactly because I don't think, right, I mean, maybe you can weigh in, what is it? So far, we haven't really gone over anything that isn't in here, that's in here.
Right. So let's cross-reference and see if we're missing something. Or if there's something here.
So my point was, A, the very first section of 40
Yes.
needs to be rewritten. We just skipped over that. We said, let's go down and go through the first 8.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back to that.
The
Because
council.
The pleasure
is-
of the council part?
This whole
Subsection.
part.
Yeah. We did. We said, let's go down and look at the roles first.
I have the state, but I printed mine off Vermont. I have the Vermont statutes version, so I have the state, yeah. So
So-
it's different than what you have, a little,
It should be.
well, look,
That's what mine is. But,
so see, look here,
I
years,
mean,
yes, that's what I have as
that's why
well.
would mine be different. than
Well,
yours.
I've noticed because these for me are lettered, A, B, C, D, E, and yours are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when you keep saying this is number 8, I don't have that as 8, I have that as, I think,
And where did you get yours?
And somebody gave me the wrong
No.
information.
No,
the,
I printed off too from Vermont State statute.
This says the statutes below include actions of the 2025 session of the general
Mine's
assembly. Really? What does yours say at the very beginning? Never used Vermont statutes anymore.
You get yours off of like this next, that's it.
No, I have our website. It says Vermont General Assembly, the Vermont statutes online, but I downloaded it from our city's website.
Well, that's where I did mine too.
Is yours like?
The legislative website.
Wow.
And
Oh, you did it from what's on the city under the
Yes.
charter? That's not right. Right, that's not they took that green book and they just took pictures and put it on.
That's, and I, yeah.
Yeah,
because
it doesn't include all the changes.
That's right, it doesn't
Doesn't-
include all of the updates and everything.
We're working.
it has to stay there. It has-
But shouldn't it
That's
be
why
the
we're,
state's
that's why we're doing
website?
what we're doing.
No, but I'm saying, shouldn't it be what you've got? That should be on our website.
That's all I had.
It is.
Exactly.
It's not?
It's not.
Oh, okay.
And I
That's
agree
it.
with you. And it wasn't until Ann said, well, I always get mine off the state statute site. And I
That's
said,
what I-
son of a gun, that's where I went wrong.
So
You
this
want-
says, as enacted by the 2020
Yeah.
such a general assembly.
It's- I think it's because there's some pages missing, but it's not right. No.
Well, there's addendums that
It's
come out.
just, it's not the revision, it's all of the things.
But if, are you talking, there's just pictures of this
No,
on the
it's
website?
this.
There's an actual,
It's, yeah, it's a
right?
PDF.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's how it came
they
to
probably just
Okay,
scan.
So I don't know,
Yeah.
you're to the right.
right. So can we just go,
Well, no, and it's because she kept saying numbers and everything.
so when we look at the rewrite and we look at 301, I'm not so sure anything, I mean, I think we shall appoint a city manager, that's a council thing, we've got that under the council. So that brings us to, and then that last part, the city manager need not be a resident, that is in part B of our existing. Part B, which we haven't really looked at, says the city manager shall receive such salary as may be fixed by the council. Yep. Before entering upon the duties of his or her office, he or she shall take the official oath required of other officers by this charter and shall execute a bond in favor of the municipality for the faithful performance of his or her duties in such sum as may be fixed by the council. The city manager need not be a voter in or a resident of the city. All right, we've got to deal with that bonding thing at some
So
point.
we're okay with the,
Well, yeah, before.
Um,
The oath, and then that bonding part, shall execute a bond in favor of the municipality for faithful performance of his or her duties in such sum. That's been a hot tamale.
it's pretty standard, but usually, there is a clause in there that the city will pay for it. Number one. Number two, you ought to purchase, and that ought to maybe be in. So the Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns has
Yes. It's
covered,
just, they don't call it a bond, they call it insurance.
it's an insurance. Yeah, but it's directors and officers, municipal government, and that covers everybody. So that not having to go out and have, 40 people go get a bond.
And it's a more extensive
And
coverage.
it's
than
way
what
more
the
expensive to
bond
do it
is.
individually than it is to do it collectively.
Yeah.
So the directors and officers coverage that we have through Vermont League of Cities and Towns
Good.
covers, yeah, it's great.
It's a more extensive coverage
Covers
than
that,
a bond,
well,
than
because
it's.
a bond, but they're saying here, individual bonds. So in lieu of individual bonds, we should be able to, the city should be able to purchase the equivalent of a bond at the city's expense to cover all people, all officers and directors.
I think there's a separate
a-
section on that,
that's
isn't there as well?
That's a simple thing, I mean, because, this one here, is everybody's gonna go out and get a bond, everybody's gonna present it to the city, at their own expense. It doesn't say at their own expense, but it doesn't say the city's gonna pay for it. Most everywhere else, when you read this,
They're using Vermont cities. Vermont League City and Town.
Well, they're using the term, you can purchase an
You
insurance.
don't have to buy it from them, which insurance.
Buy an
And
insurance.
section 32 is the one you were referring
That's
to,
right.
the bonds
Yeah.
of city office.
When we get back. when we
Yeah,
get back.
we get to that.
Just, let's think about the issue that we have.
Yeah.
So there's statute that, I mean, everybody, people need to be bonded for the treasurer, to handle money, it has to be bonded.
Yeah.
So we had passive, everybody was bonded. So at some point, they relinquished the bond on town treasurer. Passive. They said, we're not
We're not doing
insuring.
city treasurer.
Right. Well, for that one.
Because they're elected.
The person that's in that one office. So we, as a select board, then required her to present, person to present bond by a date certain, or the office would be vacant. And so I think you want to make sure that you don't lose that.
You have the power to make sure that they obtain one,
That their
And that
bond
it may
basically
be
become.
that
That's
it may
what
be
matters, too.
covered by insurance instead of a bond or something like that. Well, and in your case, it was elected,
Right.
so the.
But we're still talking about, if you're talking about bonds for the city.
Yeah.
Then there may be people that are elected or not.
Yeah,
You just want to make sure that,
and it should cover it.
that if for some reason they're found to be.
You still have the
unable
right
to-
to ask them for a bond if for
Yes.
some reason they can't do it.
Yes.
So we can. read
Yeah,
that.
that's in there. It is in section 32. It does say that.
Does it?
It does.
Yeah, well, they probably learned it from that.
No, not from 1917.
No. You guys had the.
Or shall upon become vacant and the vacancy shall be filled as here before provided. When we-
Retain that way.
Yeah,
Yeah, because if your elected official has a felony, he doesn't live against him, but the voters don't elect him. There is not an insurance company that can help. It's gonna provide.
Actually will, until you can prove that there's an issue.
you've been down that road
Even
too.
if they have a felony.
Well,
Or
no,
complicated.
well,
You know, they went through a lot.
if they have a felony, you're not gonna hire, they're not gonna be bondable anyway.
They can be elected.
They can be elected, but they won't be able to get bond.
That's what I was just saying.
But with that, but that means that you can
You can
then
get rid of them
remove them.
because it's a requirement.
But
If
if
they
they're,
can't fulfill the requirement.
but, yeah, but if they're in office, and something happens, you can't do anything, the insurance won't do anything until it becomes
Till it's,
crystal clear that
Yeah.
they're standing on
yes,
solid
yeah,
ground.
they've done, yeah.
Interesting. All right, So- yeah. So then when we look at 302 of the rewrite, I think
That should be. in the company.
I think most of what's in here is part of our 1 through 8, to be honest with you. Well, except for this language. The city manager shall be the chief administrative officer of the city of Newport.
Okay.
So we need that word, that sentence in there somewhere.
Chief administrative officer, yeah, I think.
So you know how you said you want to see us rewrite A?
Yeah.
To include that?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
City
I'm gonna
manager shall
add-
be the chief executive officer.
I'm gonna add this language here, not that it's gonna stay exactly like that, but so that we don't forget that's gonna go somewhere. And it is what the chief, how's that read? Chief administrative officer of this. That's the
And to be honest with you, the failed document, it's hard to go back and forth. So I like to keep it all in one place. Where did you find it? One thing again.
right,
Power.
yeah, 302. All right, so that, then the next sentence says, the city manager shall be responsible to the city council for the administration of all city affairs placed in the city manager's charge by or under this charter. Well, don't we cover that? Without rewriting, you know, again, thinking of of updating versus rewriting. To me, that particular sentence is covered by one. See that the laws and ordinances are faithfully executed. That's the original. But except with respect to these powers reserved to the city council under 2, the charter, the city manager shall have the following powers and duties in addition to those powers and duties delegated to municipal managers. And then they list A, B, C, D, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think where this, except with respect to those powers reserved to the city council, might come into play is that it's not sure who's, you haven't specified somewhere, something comes up that's just not specified, then it automatically goes to the powers of the city manager.
Well,
I don't know.
horribly, that section refers to the powers.
One second.
Yeah, what's that?
The section you're on now, 302, that's A. The manager shall have the following powers and duties in addition to those powers and duties delegated to municipal managers under the laws of the state. And
That's crossed out.
if you
That's
go
crossed
to
out
the,
on mine.
yeah, if you, pardon?
He crossed it
That
out.
last sentence crossed out on mine. But
Yeah, because if you go to the laws of the state, here's what it says, the powers and duties of the city manager are. In section 2, it says, to perform all duties now conferred by law upon the select board, except that he or she shall not prepare tax bills, sign orders on the general fund, call for special meetings, lay out highways, establish and lay out public parks, etc. But all of those are very de minimis jobs that the city council has. And it's saying that immediately when the city manager comes in, the city manager has all the powers of the city council, except for laying out parks and doing a few other, minimal things. So by referring back and forth, you get this situation in which
Yeah, and that's what we want.
who's got the power now?
just so you know, you can't see it, but that line I had crossed out a long time ago. I don't like that line.
Right.
I think
You
this,
should define what your city manager is in your charter, not by state statute.
Right.
because there are some things, there are some city manager duties that I've seen out there where it allows the city manager to acquire property, sell property.
They
Some
do it all.
city managers have an unbelievable amount of power.
And we didn't
Which-
include that in
which-
the council powers. They have they're the ones with the
Yeah, we
right to
haven't-
buy and
We haven't
sell.
gotten
Yeah,
there.
we haven't got there yet,
That's a
but
bonus
that's going to be
That's a bonus
addressed,
contention.
so so yeah, I don't agree with this either, which, I oppose this draft pretty, I wrote a letter to the paper, I dealt with, but, that was my biggest reason, so I thought they basically stripped the mayor and council powers to cut ribbons, fill it.
For the agenda.
Plants-
It doesn't
plants in the
say it in
park.
there, but then there
Okay.
are other sections that superseded it does say it.
So when we look at
Right.
A, under the proposal, part A of 302,
Yeah.
are there any items that stand out there that we feel are necessary as a role or responsibility of the city manager that is not addressed in the 1 through 8?
Yeah, if department had that section
doesn't, usually it doesn't, am I wrong in saying it doesn't talk about suspending or?
Yeah, that's-
Somewhere it doesn't say does it include the fact that the city manager is the supervisor of the department heads?
It just says that they appoint them.
On number 4. To appoint, something is otherwise provided for by this act, all officers and employees. And ensure that the duties are being filled, right, but it doesn't talk about, well, let's see.
Yeah, it says to appoint, except as otherwise provided for by this act, all officers and employees of this,
Okay,
to
so,
ensure that their duties are done. So it does,
okay, who's an officer?
You haven't defined who's gonna be
it says
appointed.
all officers and employees.
Except as otherwise provided, which is the council appointing them,
So who's an officer then? Who's considered officers?
the department
Department
heads.
Department heads. Why aren't we saying that then? Can we say department heads instead of officers? Isn't that clearer?
I thought appointments of officers were right now, like the police chief, the superintendent of streets, the fire department chief were going to be appointed, have always been appointed by the council.
Yeah,
But
So-
that's not in the council duties.
You haven't made it clear what's in the council duties.
We kind of,
Yeah,
well, we aren't there because we are
No, we
rewriting that.
going
So
back to
that
council
was part
duties,
of, I was thinking, I wrote that down.
but,
But we agree that that should be the jurisdiction of the council.
I don't think-
it always has been. You haven't agreed to it yet.
What do we think about that? Should the appointment? Supervision, yes, it does seem to me that supervising these department heads would fall under.
The city manager.
But would,
Social hiring, social firing.
No, I disagree with the hiring.
With the exception of department head.
Okay, exactly.
I mean, that's how I think.
I think the department heads, that should be a joint decision between the council and the city manager.
But if they have, in here, they have the city manager consulting with the council in executive session. That's just a consultation.
Yeah.
It's still,
He can go do what he wants. He or she can go do what they
He
want.
can do
Whatever they
you
want.
might want that in the verbiage.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly. I agree. So that's
Exactly.
that's what you're talking about.
yeah.
That's what I'm talking.
So where does that
What you're
go?
Talking about.
Where does that go?
Well, maybe in the city council part
I think so.
and in this,
Well, that's what I think.
go in both.
Yeah, there's no reason why, I mean, sometimes it's better to have it set.
If it's a
Same thing
duty of,
every place.
if it's a joint duty, then it should be in both.
Right.
But it's not a joint duty because the final vote is going to be made by the council as to who is going to be appointed.
So does the city manager recommend hiring of positions? Is
Yes.
that the language that we want to use?
But you gotta be careful, because the city council doesn't wanna get involved with
Every day.
who you hire,
The summer employees who
Who you
are
hire to
even though he
sell
tells
tickets at
us,
Friday.
he tells us, but.
you know, you don't.
Well, you,
And who they
I'm
hire
sorry.
for.
No, that's okay. It's just you're loud.
But you- my apologies. Sorry about that. But you brought the summer employees up, but the city council heard, Tom.
That was
brought-
out of courtesy though. That was courtesy. And he said that to us. Out of he says, I know I don't have to, but out of courtesy, I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
You really don't want the city council being involved in
Well, it's,
every hire and every fire, of every employee within the city.
But we do
That's why
want-
you hire a manager.
but you do want to be with the big wigs. The
The
department.
Department heads are different.
Right.
So I think then we have to break those two. The city manager will recommend to the city council the hiring of department heads the city manager
Yeah, and I
will
talked to him on Friday.
oversee the hiring of all employees excepting department heads. I think you have to. really
I think you
spell
gotta be
that out.
spelled, I think you gotta spell it out.
I think I spelled it.
So
Is that section B, 302?
how is it, how has it been? They have a city manager, who's under the city manager,
Department heads.
and who's under the city department heads. The employees, so who has the power to hire and fire those employees? Is it just the city manager? Or the
City
department?
manager can delegate that authority to his department heads, but in the end, it's up to him or her.
Except for the department heads.
Right.
To me, that needs to be
That's
joint.
different, well, that's
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But the employees under, once you
City
get the
council.
department heads underneath that,
City manager and city council.
you know, you delegate that
City
authority.
council votes.
But I mean the firing.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ben. I was still at appointments. Who's gonna do the interviewing for the fire chief? To hire the fire chief, the council?
Yeah, it's a department.
And then they're gonna decide in consultation with the,
Well, they can farm out the interviewing to a task force if they want. And then, but in the end, they have to make a decision.
they make the ultimate decision.
So they don't have to sit and do all the interviews. But they have to be the ones making the final decision.
Okay,
City council, as far as
That's all I see.
that is not what this says. This gives them carte blanche to fire department heads, city employees, hire them, fire them. That's the building. And I don't like any other way to do it. So if we agree to that, we can come up with support. And I think we should put it in both city council duty and in the city manager. That makes sense.
and is it gonna be true for the firing as well, that the city council is gonna determine, which of the department heads get fired?
In the end, yeah, at the recommendation of the city manager.
Yeah, but I don't think it should be the sole job
No.
of one or the other.
Yes.
I don't think the council should do that without the recommendation and the reasons behind the city manager. I think it should be joint.
So why don't you do the city manager consulting with the council, the department heads in consultation with the city manager for underneath. So
Yeah,
you've got one level
Yeah.
is there, and then
Yeah.
the council does not get involved with the underlings.
Right.
As long as they're within budget, and that's obviously.
If you just look at the structure you have now and just.
trying to put it in order.
Yeah.
Underneath the city manager.
Yeah,
Okay, wait, let me
because
put this down.
this one here, the thing with the city manager.
Okay, so,
Sharon, can we just make a note to also include the department head part of it in the council?
structure.
I thought it was on the whole. Somebody.
But as an example-
Chart of accounts, or how the structure is of chain of command, chart of accounts.
Well, the company I used to work for, HR had that all out.
Yeah.
And this here, who the supervisors were and who they had the power to do and da, 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 da. It was a tree. They called it the tree.
Yeah, and I think if you treat this, you'll come up with a good answer.
It said here, like the city manager may authorize any employee who is subject to the city
Right.
manager's direction to exercise these powers with respect to subordinates. I mean, but I think we can say a little better.
Yeah, I think it's just,
Yeah, but that's basically what they're saying here, except it's, the council is not included in that. In this one. Yeah, I just.
Yeah.
Everybody good with that?
I like the term that they used in C where they say City
what?
manager,
Oh, I see, yeah.
the city manager and the city council shall share the authority.
Authority to contract.
Shall share
Share the authority.
to do what?
Well, in this
Well,
particular one
city
was
attorney.
the city attorney, but you could use that share the authority in a lot and spell it out in different places.
I think that was so that they could both consult with the city attorney. But in the end, I don't see any way, if your city manager says, I want X to be hired, and your council says, I want Y to be hired, it's what the council says, not the recommendation of the city manager. I mean,
Right.
she can talk about why you should hire
Or
X.
E.
or-
Right, but what, yeah, you're right. So so the city manager brings a recommendation to the council, but the council has the final say in who who gets hired.
I think we have to release.
So we can work that, yeah. We can do that.
And when you're thinking about the city attorney, you should think about who has access to the city attorney.
Mhm.
It can't be all 4 council members and the mayor and,
No, you're right.
and the city manager.
And a city employee.
Yeah,
and a
your,
city-
your bill is gonna,
Yeah. it's gonna go.
yeah.
Got it. I wrote that down. Okay, is this a good place to maybe, take a breather?
Yeah, we're getting to be about there.
Yeah.
We want to keep going a
It
little
would
further.
be nice to,
It would be
we
nice
got
to get
like
this
10,
done.
12 minutes to get to 11.
All right.
Well, according to Mike,
Okay, so
just see if we can get that and then we can put that back together as a done.
So you can
Just
do
get
the
everybody's-
review.
Yeah, just get everybody's feeling on
Okay.
the next one. So city manager, that's what you were talking about with this hiring the city attorney.
well, have we come to consensus on A? I'm still hung up back there.
Yeah, we're gonna agree with
I
it.
think.
We're
I think
rewriting that.
We need to rewrite it
Yeah.
to really spell out who advises, who has direct control. And then we're all in agreement that it really should be the council, not the city manager. We need to also include that language in the city
Okay.
council.
So my notes to us say, when you go into this document, my notes on number 40, city manager, I put in parentheses the word powers, for lack of better term, but no, we need to add to that heading.
Mhm.
Then I have rewrite to include structure of current roles, city manager, department heads,
Mhm.
employees, okay. And then A, underneath that, the council, when the city so votes at any annual meeting, we want shall, I'm going
I
back.
don't think you need. I think
We just.
you don't need that because you don't need the city to vote. Because if the city votes to change your charter, you're going to a council, city manager type of government. What this did was allow through a city vote to do that.
Allow them
Now,
to hire a city manager and the city says no.
Okay,
Yeah.
So
so,
I think we just
Oh.
X that whole thing out.
what, the A, the
A.
council? So you want me to strike that?
Rewrite the whole thing.
That's why
You
I
have
think
to put in
that
chief
the
executive.
language in 301
Yeah,
does
put
what
it
you
in.
want.
You know,
The language of what?
The proposal in 301,
Yeah,
with some,
301, the city council shall appoint a city manager under and in accordance with the laws of the state of Vermont. Right?
I don't know if you need.
Is that what you want?
Accordance.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't really looked at how it's appointed in a state statute and whether or not you can leave that out.
Yeah, and to Mike's point, they really don't want to cross-reference.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you can just say the city council shall appoint a city manager.
shall be the chief,
Who shall,
administrative
good one.
officer of the city. Right? Something like that.
You can, or, I mean, it depends on how you want to structure this section. Do you want subsections like they have it over down here where you have city manager appointment and hiring as a heading? And you could put powers and duties of city manager as another.
Yeah, I think
So if we
that's
break
probably a
that
good
down,
idea, but you may be able to consolidate some of.
well, being the chief administrative officer, would say is power, one of the powers.
Yeah, I agree. So we could do really shorten that A. And then we had the duties here. The first 8 that we all agreed on. And then after that, put powers. Then you'd have another section saying powers of the city manager.
That's gonna be like what we talked about, like hiring an partner.
Yeah, and we may want to just go down through these sections, so let's see if we can do that really quick. Does that make sense to you, Jen?
So I have added to A. The city council shall appoint a city manager who shall be the chief administrative officer of the city of Newport. Done
Pretty much.
on that one. Now,
If you want to
We
add the
need-
clause to the city manager, cannot be arrested.
well, we have that down at number 8. You want to add it there? No, we have it down under B. But yeah, that would make more sense to put it all together, right? Cut.
Did you include in that, Sharon, under the direction and supervision of the council?
No, but I should. Just a minute, let me get this part here.
And maybe fire the
Yeah,
police.
that's not a bad.
Hold on. Just tell me,
That's it.
the city council shall appoint a city manager who shall be the chief administrative officer of the city of Newport and what?
Under the direction and supervision of the council.
I haven't learned to type this fast. Okay, got it. Just-
So then,
Oh, but that's good. I'll go back and fix
so
that.
then we go down to city attorney. We don't have anything about a city attorney currently in the city manager's thing, but, we probably should define.
Or is that a duty of the city council?
We put that under city council.
Yeah.
Yeah, because city council did that, not the manager, not the city manager.
Yeah, but does the city manager have permission to
Yeah. Have access to the city
have
manager.
access?
Well, I think maybe under the duties, you say the city council shall determine who has access to the, city attorney. or
Yeah, good
something
point.
like
I'm
that.
gonna go add that right now. Oh, you're gonna write that down. I'm gonna-
Yeah, well, I just don't know if the city manager should automatically have access. to the
Right.
city
Yeah.
attorney.
Right. But
You
would
may-
you add city attorney, to put with our city council when we go through that for everybody to review?
The next section on that is under the city manager thing. In the proposal as, because there are some, city manager, see how all laws, provision of this chapter need to be. Do we have to describe the duties? That's a duty, that's not a power.
I think it's already in there. Isn't it? I think it's under B. Right?
City manager shall receive,
Or.
the current B?
No, I'm sorry. 2, it's under A2.
To attend all meetings of the council in which his or her attendance may be required by that body. That's what A2 is.
Is that what you're talking about? Do you?
No,
What are we talking about?
there's a thing in here that says see all laws and ordinances faithfully executed, that probably covers. See. All laws, provision of this charter, blah, 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 blah.
I thought we were on D.
E, excuse me.
Did we just skip D?
Are you on D or
C is
D?
about the city manager, the city attorney.
Yeah, but then D is about the attending council meetings.
No,
This, yeah.
I thought D was about contracting. with
City
the-
manager or a staff member designated by the city manager shall attend all city council meetings. We're on the proposed.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Yeah. Do we, do we,
And that's in A2. We've already gone over that one in A2.
This note was on the.
The only thing that's in the proposal that's not in A2 already is the executive session. So A2 says, the current charter says to attend all meetings of the council, at which his or her attendance may be required by that body.
Mhm.
So we can add in there, may meet an executive session.
that, that's a city council role.
The city council has to vote
Right.
on going into executive.
It's also
Right.
government.
That's not a city manager position.
Right, and also, and designate who else they want in executive session with them.
But
That has to
that's
be
part of the
vote.
open meeting.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
so that's not, we don't need that,
That's not charter.
no.
Okay, so you just want to cross to that?
Well, and I'm just, it's,
Well, to attend all meetings,
Yeah, well, we've already got that.
yeah.
yeah, it don't.
So I don't think there's anything in the proposal of D that needs to be in our current charter under the roles and responsibility of the city manager.
What about, with respect to 2, she's allowed or he's allowed to designate somebody to go instead of in their stead?
Yeah, I don't,
Well, I mean, what if
What's
she's
that?
sick, or what if she's, or what if he's, absent on vacation that week?
You don't have to do that, I'm just screwing with you.
I've sold it, please, Shelley.
You can say she all you want.
Or you can just say city manager.
Can they designate somebody to go to the meeting instead of them is the question.
hmm.
They're not in a voting position, they're only in an advisory position.
But does that have to be part of the charter, or can't they just come?
Yeah.
No, what she's talking about, the city manager gets sick and is out.
Yeah, and so
And the
he
city
says,
manager
Carrie's coming
designates
to represent me.
to Frank, but you're now the city manager.
And it says the duties of the city manager in our charter as it exists today include that, they attend all meetings of the
Yep.
council
Yeah,
at
they
which
do.
his or her attendance may be required by that body. It seems like we should be able to, or there's designated person.
Yeah,
In case they're sick.
In case they're sick.
they're
Unable
or
to
they
attend.
are unable to attend.
and that's what's happened traditionally.
Okay,
They appoint
Okay, so-
unless
keeps speaking,
unable.
unless unable to attend a, not
They
substitute.
designate someone in there.
Designate.
I would just say to attend all meetings of the council at which his or her attendance may be required.
So I wouldn't even say his or her attendance, I would say just attendance.
To attend all meetings of the council. Oh, you just want them to.
So we could strike out at which his or her
Well, we
attendance
don't-
may be
we don't
required
just
by
say
that
we
body.
don't Use his or her.
Sure.
We're trying
No, I
to
agree.
We
avoid,
don't use that anymore.
Okay,
they're trying to avoid pronouns.
Right.
Lest we
well,
offend.
okay, so to attend all meetings of the council at which their attendance may be required or to appoint. Or to appoint,
And designate,
In there.
If-
Or
if-
instead of appoint, just or designate,
or doesn't.
Or designate.
And also,
yeah,
why not just leave it blank? Because I could appoint somebody as city manager to go to all zoning things and pay them as an employee.
Yeah.
You know, I
No.
think you'd do better just to leave it that way. They can't come.
they're gonna let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've had
If there's a
situations,
department head that needs to be
Yeah.
there, they'll just-
right, and Rick will just invite them to come sit at the table. And that's perfectly, we don't need to put this in a charter.
No,
This is just meeting protocol,
it's
right?
procedure. You're into procedure.
Yeah, okay. Let's just stop it at
Just
attend all meetings of the council. Done.
As required.
Yeah.
Huh?
You want the council to require that they attend.
$10 meetings as required by the
Right.
council.
Yeah.
She's right.
To attend all meetings of the council.
Yeah, because you may not want the city manager.
As required.
Who knows? There may be a reason. I don't mind the wording that's there.
To attend all meetings of the council as required by that body. Easy.
I gotta put a note to myself, check original.
So
So then
let's,
D is
let's
gone.
go down because we're running out. And if we're gonna rewrite this, we should at least go through some of these things.
Yeah.
Delinquent tax collector, because that's gonna come up in another thing. We're just gonna say that's a
Is that a role?
role for city manager. Are you done with it?
Yeah, where are you? A or?
I'm not anywhere. Something that's not discussed.
Leave it as a council appointment.
Huh?
Leave it as a council appointment.
That's where it is now.
I'm not sure where it is, but that's where it should be.
Okay.
Say what? The.
You can appoint the city manager, the
You can appoint the
city
city manager.
secretary.
That's probably all right.
Yeah.
Because there could be more would give you than makes sense.
Well, that's.
Say
what I was
everybody
thinking. That's a
decides
big
not to.
job.
There's, if you appoint someone outside of city government,
Unless you approve the position.
but there's fees that go along with that. Right now, I think as the city manager doing the job, as tax collector, those fees stay with the city and the city budget, right?
Any city employee would be that situation.
But it could be somebody else. You could appoint anybody.
Right.
And if you do, then those fees, instead of going into the budget, they have to be.
Given to the person.
You're right.
But it also states in the charter somewhere that they get 5 cents for each one they collect.
I'm sure that's written out. That states that.
I think if you leave it open, you can just sign it and you can do it with or without fees.
Yeah, well, yeah, it'd be up to the council. If they want to give it to somebody else, they're gonna know that it's gonna hit their budget.
Well, why can't we just say it's under the city manager cell?
But you said city council was gonna appoint the tax collector.
If you have the situation with no city manager and they are the tax collector, then you can't collect past due taxes.
Yeah.
Which has been the issue.
Yes, so you don't want to be that way. You want to have the appointment with the council.
Right.
It just be an annual appointment.
Yeah, you're right. When you
They
get
had a
the-
section in here in the failed document. City manager may recommend specific candidates. That goes without saying if they want to, doesn't have to be in the charter.
Since we're just kind of jumping around, this, what about, setting the, and
Except otherwise provided in this charter. So personnel policies are and applicable collective bargaining agreement. And parameters and affect city, its compensation.
So what just happened? So we just had to renegotiate the police department's, what do you call it? Contract, thank you. And Public Works is up next. So that's done. And there was a task force formed with members of the council, and then it has to come in front of the council for approval.
is that how,
That's how it's
That's
done.
their collective bargaining.
That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that's
So-
covered under, this, but I just don't know how it's currently done. And that's why I'm asking about, and so who fixes the compensation of city employees since we don't have?
The city manager, I think what they're doing now.
It's based on the
Because,
contract.
because earlier you gave them.
Okay, but where is that on
The
the,
hire and fire, which would include compensation.
So then that should be, you're saying, that should be under you. Or not?
The salaries are done by the council. They're controlled by the budget, so the budget is going to do it. And collective bargaining is the council negotiates and it goes to the contract council.
So if you hire a guy to work at Proudy Beach for the summer, city council has to set that.
It's set basically by what you have established in the budget. When you, if you review the detailed budget, Mike will tell you X number of employees at X dollars per hour. And as long as it doesn't exceed that budget.
So the department head fixes the salary,
They
as
do.
long as they
The
stay within
council
their budget.
approves it.
so the city council really doesn't set the salary.
Several employees,
Huh?
several employees,
Several,
of
Yeah.
any employee.
of any. I mean,
Yeah, it has to be within their budget,
that's why you have,
and that's what gets
Department
presented as
heads.
their budgets.
up to them, they gotta stay within it. How do they do it?
And it's.
Other than collective bargaining, all the unions,
Well,
So police
and then
and
they've
public
got,
works, yeah.
we've got,
you have to do what the contract does. So you're not talking about very many employees. A lot of non-essential or whatever, not that they're non-essential. That's a lousy term for it, but
well, that was COVID return.
And who's setting the salaries of the department heads
In the budget.
in the budget?
So the council does, and then the voters do. In the end, it's voters. When they approve the budget.
So do we feel like the language of that is okay then?
I don't know if you.
Well, I don't even need,
I don't think you need it.
because this is the proposed, remember?
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
so I don't think you need it because it says you have,
I don't think you need it.
it says who has the fire power to hire and fire. And in the hiring process, you're gonna be setting. Salary. So I don't even know if that's necessary.
As I look down through up to O, I think we've covered, I think we're covered,
That's what I'm getting. at.
1 through 8, as in our current charter, I think it's here.
Yeah, that was the only thing that I really didn't think was covered, which is why I wanted to,
But
That's the
if we're
budget.
gonna,
if we're thinking that it just falls under budget in general.
and if we're gonna rewrite that, then we've got to deal with vacancy
Yeah, that's the roles
And-
now, yeah,
and hiring
the removal.
removal. You gotta
Yeah.
put those two
You
things.
still gotta work on the
But,
removal,
but that all should go under the city manager head.
just a different section,
That's a
subheading,
subsection or a bullet
subheading
or
under
whatever.
there. And vacancy,
And
so
other than that, I think we're good, right?
that's true. Are you proposing, Charlie, we cut and paste these?
No,
Okay. How'd I know? Yeah, no, I agree, especially today, we've got to talk about that. All right, this is a good place to stop, though. We've done the roles or responsibilities, powers, whatever we're gonna call it.
and we'll just get.
So let's talk about the next agenda. The next agenda on Wednesday, we will continue, with the city manager, and we're looking at what?
Go back to
Removal,
mayor and following up. Go back to 7 and work our way forward. I think it's gonna work.
well, wait a second, we're not quite done city manager, though.
What do we got up to do?
The removal and the vacancies. You just told me we're not cutting and pasting.
Oh, yeah. Well, I see.
But I'm not saying, I'm not advocating for cutting and pasting either, by the way, but I'm just saying.
Well, but when it remove, okay. So should
Well, let's talk about that.
should that be under the city manager or should that be under the council?
For what?
Removal
Okay,
and vacancy?
the city
I mean,
council may
it's
remove,
vacancy, but like the removal, that's all under the city council's authority, right?
You may want it in both places.
That is the city council.
The city council function. But it also,
it's a right of the city manager. But does that belong to the count, in their charter?
It's in your introductory paragraph, isn't it? Basically,
Well, no, this is removing the city.
Of the city manager?
but if you shall appoint, I mean, if you appoint, then just add in and at will, and then you have it covered, because if you at will them out the door, you gotta replace them.
I didn't think you decided it. Is that?
We didn't decide it well.
Okay.
No, but I think you
We-
probably should, at cause or at will,
Yeah, for
Um,
cause.
for cause. And for cause, then you're back at stage 1 again, you gotta appoint a city manager,
Yeah.
because
still
you
have
shall
to do it.
have one. if you want to give them the rights to protest.
City, that's the first, right. So the city council shall appoint or remove. Are we adding at will there or nothing? No, just leave
For
it
cause.
I think for cause.
for cause or.
Wow, that
remove.
changes. I think that was the one officer they kept at will, even in this charter.
No, it says city manager from office or cause in accordance to the following procedures.
A city manager. So now, the city council shall appoint or remove for cause a city manager who shall be the chief administrative officer of the city of Newport and under the direction and supervision of the city council. The city manager need not be a voter in or a resident of the city.
That is,
I know.
yeah,
Doesn't that cover us then for the removal part?
well, it does, but 303 gives you the procedure how to do that.
Okay, so I'm gonna put that here. 303 of proposal
Should that
is
be
the
procedures
procedure.
for all department heads?
Pardon? No.
Well,
You don't department head to have a hearing if they're inappropriately fired by the city manager.
Oh, they're not, that's right, they're not members of.
Yeah,
They won't be
right.
fired by the city manager. That, I think the
Be both.
proposal that we're talking about, would give that to the council, not the city manager, not the department.
City manager can bring it, but they don't
Right.
have the sole authority to do the firing. That's gonna be a joint, that's gonna be a.
Right.
Joint
But do you, but I think
decision.
maybe
or
what Jennifer's
council.
getting at is, do you want to provide a procedure for that?
They have that in the,
If it's,
well, they don't all have it.
so
Is
should
it in
we
their
put that
collective
in
bargaining
here?
agreement on the procedures?
Yeah, well, it should be the same for all employees.
This should go into the council, not the manager.
Yeah,
There's a personnel policy that
I was just
already
gonna say
governs
that.
this, and you should at least look at it to see that you're not gonna have new personnel policy.
yeah, I don't think we need to spell it out. I was just gonna suggest, does the personnel policy cover,
It doesn't go to the
Removal?
city manager.
Yeah,
Huh?
that's a different,
The city manager is not under your personnel policy. It's every
Right,
other
yeah.
non-union employee.
Should it be
City manager probably should be.
under the personnel policy?
But they're not gonna change the personnel, they
No,
just
no, no.
get the
the city
personnel
manager is gonna
policy.
be under contract. So I'm not sure. Your personnel policy can't conflict with the contract. Let's say you wanna hire somebody. Let's say you wanna hire somebody and he says, well, I like what the personnel policy says, I will take this job, but I want it to change to such and such. You should have the power to do that. If that's the person you really want. Because that's a little different position. Somebody's giving up, you know, that's like the most important hire in the city as far as.
So what we're saying though, all the employees and including department heads, there is a personnel policy. We just,
Or a collective bargaining.
Yes, and it excludes the union workers.
Right, so you could just
it
include everybody.
excludes the union workers.
That's by contract with the union.
Okay,
So
but
you only
then,
have about maybe 20 at best,
You said 11,
11.
okay, so that are not union.
right,
And then, so they're covered how?
personnel.
Personnel
So you've
policy.
got two union contracts, one personnel policy, and you have a city manager who is the only employee not covered under any of those three.
So
So we've got to make sure that he's covered under the charter.
Department heads
Or she.
The city manager would be covered under their contract. Because nobody else has a contract with the city. The contract that the city manager has with the city will say what his rights are or her under that. So that's why they're not in that.
But
Because
because
then
we're
put this
supposed,
in contract for the city manager.
Huh?
Put this into the contract for the city manager and firing.
Yeah, but that's not up for us to do.
No,
but we're specifically talking
It will be.
about
It will be.
what the process is for removing the city manager.
That's what needs to be in the charter,
Yeah,
right?
that wouldn't be in their contract. I mean, it might be in their contract, but I think, I would be really hesitant to say, well, if the city manager doesn't like the fact that he can be removed by the city council, he can just demand a contract that says.
But you couldn't in this, if you put it in the,
I think Charlie's saying.
You
he
can't
doesn't-
change that.
Right, but Charlie's saying he just wants it in the contract, and not in the charter, but I'm saying I don't think it should be just in the contract, I think it should be in the charter. I think the process for removing the manager should be in the charter.
And as it's written now, it says,
It's gonna be in his.
It's not written now at all, but there's no process for removing the city manager.
No,
in
because
our
they have
project.
a contract, and their contract spells out how they can be removed.
does it?
Mhm.
Does it include the procedure?
I'll
I
bet you-
doubt it. You were talking about the
I'll bet you it
procedure.
does.
Because that's what's in the proposal. I guess I just feel like if we're going to.
Well, I can tell you, I've got it right here.
If we're talking, if we're specifically talking about whether or not you need to spell out the process and removing a city manager, and I feel like that is something that voters care about, because there's been some history where maybe that would have been a nice power to have. You know, I think having at least some process spelled out is good, so that the council or whoever removes that manager, whoever is going to do that, knows exactly how to do it, and the process isn't stymied by just
Oh, this is
not knowing
John's.
how to. do it.
Let me tell you what my problem is. So let's say the city manager contract, they're trying to hire a city manager, and by charter, it says, this is how you have to be removed. And it's just specifies 30 days or whatever notification, whatever.
45.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is like, for instance.
Okay.
The best candidate you have for city manager comes in and says, I like everything about this, except I don't want to be subjected, I want 60 days. You can't do it because the charter says 45.
I would
That's my
argue-
problem.
I guess I would just argue that if they have a problem with that, which I don't think is an incredibly contentious cause, then they're not the best candidate.
Might be if they moving here from California
Totally relocating.
at an
But
extreme expense, and they've only got 30 days.
I guess also, the
That's
flip
right.
side of that is if I was applying for a city manager position, I would very much want to know what the process was for my removal, and I would feel more protected if that was in the charter and just not in my contract, because that's very binding. I'm very wary of not, because there's so much concern about giving the city manager too much power. I feel very strongly that we should be very clear about how we can prevent that. And one of the best ways to prevent that is for them to know that they can be removed and that there's real teeth in that removal and how exactly that removal would look. I mean, I just think that that is important for the charter to spell out.
you have any idea, Charlie, or even Mike, with the rewrite, 303, A, B, and C, any idea where that may have come from?
I mean, my guess is if you pull out the city manager contract, which they're gonna offer, which I'm sure they've already written up. If they're interviewing city managers, I would assume there's a contractor that does interviewees. Haven't looked at it.
Do you not see it in any of the other charters?
Yeah, did you?
I didn't look at it.
Go, John.
I did not look at that portion of it.
Yeah, I would have said it's in other charters.
I'll have that too.
But, you know, I mean, I understand your argument, Charlie, but you can make that argument with any of the duties and powers that you're putting into the charter. That if somebody looks at all of that and says, I love this, but but I don't want to do this. I don't want to be responsible for this. But you're putting that in the charter as well. So I think it works both ways. And so you either are silent on everything or you bring everything in. So, and I think you're better off bringing everything in because it's upfront. It's telling people what they can expect.
Okay.
Okay, so
So
let's
I'm
table
good with
this.
that. I
Let's
get it.
table.
So does this wording work?
The,
The proposal? Or is this a good place to, you're going to check what the other 9 cities are? Just pick a couple of them, let's see what they do with removal.
I think that we can maybe all do a little thinking and research and come back to 303.
That's what I was, that's
Just
what
the
I'm
last
thinking.
part, I think we've really established most of everything that we wanted to the city manager, just those removal questions, so maybe we just touch base on that.
I think so too. I think I'm feeling good about having a starting point here.
So next,
Okay, so
Okay, so next meeting, I was
we're gonna do
starting
a
that.
removal clause and then we're gonna go back to where we were, or
then do we go back to city council or to?
Well, I was, yeah, when we were normally or whenever on the city council rewriting A with what you did and what I did. Then from there, I'm gonna bring it home and I'm gonna chart it onto 3 sheets. Mayor, city council, city manager. So we'll have that for review and we'll hide it so no one, so it's not gonna, it won't be over there. Well, and then I think we're ready to go back to the stuff we skipped over to get to this point.
that's what I do, go back to 7.
Yeah.
Start going forward. I think it's gonna go a lot quicker.
Well, I think we have, I think,
When you look at the procedure for removal,
yeah,
talking about the city council shall adopt by first took it to vote. They want to include that the council will go into executive session. And then they will have to vote on and bring that resolution out, but I don't know that you
You can't
want,
vote in executive session.
you can't, no, you gotta come out of the executive
Right.
session, but I don't know that you want the council to be discussing in open forum
no, you don't,
what's going on
right,
and what the problem is
Right.
with the city manager.
yeah, you're
Unless,
right.
of course, I think the city manager, him or herself can waive that. Usually a lot of things say it doesn't have to be an executive session. If the city manager chose they wanted it discussed publicly.
Yeah, we had that,
We've had that
we
happen.
had that, like.
Yeah.
So long ago.
Yeah, it's actually an important one.
All right,
It's been used by a council member who was being rewarded by a city manager. It's been very effective and it was important. And it was the right thing to do.
And it was, so I ended somewhere, it's like, they could, it was, they could, it's whoever the person is, may have been. But they could,
It's been the,
they could request.
it's been the hearing shall be in public or executive session by choice of the city manager.
Where does it say that?
It's section
Indeed, yeah.
the, there's end of the second line, beginning of the third.
Where?
So,
303.
yeah, but the
oh, that's
preliminary.
3 right,
You have
right,
two
right.
things going on. You have the preliminary, where it's not bringing in the city manager, it's just having the council putting together a preliminary resolution. So you may want that, I don't know that you want that discussed in an open forum. Once you come out, you have the resolution that has to be voted on in public. But you may not want that discussion. Then, once it goes to the city manager, then there has to be another hearing. And then that's where the city manager can request it be in public or.
You can't say that it's a discussion of whether or not you're thinking about doing it should be open to the public. Because what if you don't, you say, you know what? We're not concerned with that, because the headline will be in the paper. whether there needs to be or not.
Right. So
Yeah.
you go in
So you guys-
executive session,
You do that,
personnel matter,
when you take the action, then you have to have a public hearing.
exactly, well, you have to vote in public. So if you're gonna vote on a preliminary resolution, then you have to do that in public.
Don't you think this is preceded by the executive session to get the council to? I don't think you want it in there because this follows the executive session. This is what happens when they make that motion coming out of executive session.
Right, but there's nothing in here that talks about council going into executive session.
They do it because it's personnel.
Yeah, they could.
And that way they don't have to declare the
Yeah.
city manager on
Right.
the agenda if they
Right.
want for this city. And
So for my own clarification here, whenever there's conversation that's gonna be around personnel, you have to go into executive session. Is that correct?
You should.
Should not have to.
What if the person being discussed asks for it to be done publicly?
Then you go
Well, they
public.
should have that right.
Yeah,
Julie Burgoyne asked that, the issue that the city manager had raised against her,
Oh, I
which could be an
remember
executive
Yeah.
session.
that. She asked for it to be public. I remember
And
that.
she was absolutely right.
Yeah.
In that situation, yes. Yeah, you're right.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, I remember that.
Didn't Karen
You
I'm sorry?
didn't Karen do that also?
go and they just say.
I don't know if that was decided by the mayor or Karen.
They can put that
Karen
vote on
It was
that.
complicated and she was asked to rent the place, as you know. And she
But
brought
then
up
everybody
with
will
her
vote
anyway.
for
Yes,
I
she did.
think that turned into circus.
I did.
Yeah, okay. So the next meeting, everybody, we are going to, we're going to look at the city manager. We have to finish up the city manager for the section on the removal. And what was the other thing we were gonna talk about with them? Oh, and vacancy.
Yeah.
Okay. Vacancy, and that is 304, that one, okay, vacancy. Then, if we go back to where we left off before we took this, side route, we were at 14A, collector of taxes in the original. So start there. And we will look at that one, 14A and 15, maybe that's enough.
You have to go back to the ones we got snagged on because we hadn't made a decision about the mayor and stuff.
You see, I'm gonna have that charted, and I think as we go forward, when we see things that we say, that's actually the city, that's the council, or that's the mayor, then I'll get out of my chair and I'll add it in a different color on
Now,
my
for
chart.
instance, we tabled 60 and 8 and 11.
Yeah,
So we didn't get all the way to 14.
right, but we
those.
tabled them to come back to later.
Okay.
So let's go try to get through all of this, and then we have plenty to go back on, does that sound?
Yes.
At least get through the content.
Right, as you guys do your, whatever it is, that pull stuff together in between today and Wednesday. Take a look again at the city manager job description. What the person they're interviewing right now is being asked
Is
to
looking
see
at-
that job.
That's public on the website.
Yes, but you need to look at it, or we all need to look at it and see if it jives with what they're proposing in the charter.
But that doesn't mean that you have to propose exactly what it says. but
Right.
You have to decide.
Right.
And-
Just see what it says.
But it,
Yeah.
yeah.
We just have to make sure it's not in conflict with each other.
Right.
Yeah. that's
Oh.
right. I did it review.
It's really not. It's not going to affect your. This
Sure.
charter proposal that we're putting together. Because that person will already be
Hired
hired.
on the old charter.
That's right.
Right.
They will be.
But going forward,
I understand
Yeah.
that, but unless you want to put yourselves in the position of World War III again, it might just be worth.
Because they're gonna have duties.
Well, we'll definitely look at it. I write from what I read, what was given to me. I don't think we've got it. I don't think it's gonna be an issue, but I'll look it over again. Yep. Okay, thank you. So,
does it make sense?
thank you very much for your input.
We schedule a meeting for 11 today.
Yeah.
We're an hour and a half over.
Yep.
I just, I mean, I fine with me, but for public benefit, I think
Yeah, I
the
agree.
public
Yeah.
should know that we're going longer.
Right.
You know,
That's fine with me. I don't know if this is just a matter of investigation, but I do need to make it next Monday. I have a hard stop at like 10:35 and I need to go.
Okay, that's fine.
looks like Dennis comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And is there
Okay.
also a way that, I mentioned this to you, Charlie, that we can put, that within the city webpage, that we have a section for the task force, and that documents that we're dealing with and that you may be sending to us can be posted on that, and so the public can see it at the same time, so that there's not.
so she did do that, and she's got the original and she's got the proposal in there. And
He's talking about.
this working document, yeah, that we're working on right here. Do we want to do that?
I mean, when I run my committee, anytime that we have new documents, they're always posted to my webpage. So that.
You're
Not just
talking
my,
about with this
yeah,
document.
not just my committee members, but the public, lobbyists and everybody else can see them, and then they can engage with us at the same, while we're looking.
So if we put a big disclaimer on it that said, this is our
Or
working
you just put draft
document.
up.
I think you want to go through the whole of the charter once.
Well, that's what I'm
You're
thinking
gonna-
is
You're
like,
gonna be
can-
quick enough.
I just
through.
think-
can we put a
I'm a-
document, the whole document together?
Because you're gonna upset people who might follow.
I personally would like to do that after we have gone through, so that we're only at the tweaking point.
Yeah.
Of capital letters and wording, and just afraid of, just afraid.
Problem is, the first thing they see, that's what they're gonna focus on and have them change their mind. And I think, I missed your other meetings, so you have changed your mind, even from the start of this meeting to the end of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, we are in a very messy stage in it
Yeah.
right now, so I think maybe.
But I do think we need to eventually, so
Yeah.
you can see it.
I was gonna say messy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I get where you're coming from. It's so messy right now that I feel like it would be hard to put in. But
That's my
But
word.
I also understand what you're saying, because I think having public participation was really gonna make or break.
If people could see it, if people see beginning product, and everything it took to get to the end,
Yeah,
and the changes that are made, the discussions that have been had, people get to see that.
Yeah.
That's the way we operate in Montpelier. You may feel differently here.
Is Lori still here?
I'm still here.
Okay, Dennis, what do you think of what we're talking about?
Okay, you're talking about showing what we've done as we do it.
Yes,
Okay, so
Working draft, yeah.
the thing with that is, yeah, I would have to agree that some people are gonna read it and think that's your change, but not realize that you've had other changes for the same thing until they see the next change, which is gonna be like a few days later or the next week. If you're gonna do that, maybe if you only put out the changes once a week, so people would see what you've got there, as opposed to me seeing that you've done this today, on Wednesday, it's gonna change again. And they're
Yeah.
not gonna realize that.
So you're on a couple other task forces, right? Or one?
I'm on the DRB, I'm on the Planning Commission and the Cemetery Committee.
Okay, so when you guys are going in, looking at potential changes, do you put that up after your meetings? Or do you wait until you've made a final draft before you put it out there?
No, what we have done is we came up with a working model that went to the lawyers. They made their changes, sent them back to us. And now what we're doing is we're going through the entire document and either agreeing with them or changing them. And then that entire document will go back to the lawyer again for a final review. And then it goes before the public, and then it's gonna go before the city council.
Okay, but it doesn't go to the public until you've got
Correct. Yeah,
four or five processes in.
right. We're gonna complete that process and then present the draft.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you don't get people coming into the next meeting on something that you kind of decided, but you haven't totally decided. And make it an issue.
Right, and I think it takes some time for us to work our way through and to be able to defend the changes we've done. And I don't, sure, some of them we're not defending because we're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
I think maybe we do get it a little more cleaned up to like tweaking statements
Before
you're
we
talking
start
about.
putting
But
it
then I do think, I don't want us to forget that we've had this conversation because I do think it's really
Yeah, I think
important
so
to
too.
post it well before it even goes
To the
to a
public forum.
Yeah, so that people have a chance to really read through it and decide. And then also because they have access to these videos of these meetings.
Oh,
So
that's true.
if they have a question about how it came somewhere, you know, they could go back and walk, you know, so I mean, that's also, it's not like we're doing this in the dark. I mean, these are public meetings. I do want to bring up one thing though, and I know we're so over time, I'm so sorry. But I am, I guess, I love the idea of having morning meetings personally because I'm a morning person and I get really run down in the afternoon. But I worry that they're not, the nice thing about having one morning and one afternoon was that they were accessible to part of the public that might not be able to attend a morning meeting because they work or they have childcare application. I do have a concern that if we move them all to just morning meetings, although personally I love that, is that it's not as accessible to the public or public who can maybe come on Wednesday nights, but can't come on Monday mornings. I do agree that Wednesday on the waterfront is definitely something we need to keep in mind, but I just worry that I don't know how are the other task forces handling that. Lori, are you still on or?
Yours are, somebody's are Fridays at 8 in the morning.
And that's it.
We just had one set day for women, so it went Friday, we haven't met.
Oh, you're on the task force.
So, and you just do it in the morning?
I think, you know, going back to prior when our council meeting, if you weren't here, you had no idea what that would happen, to the fact that there are videos of these
Sure.
things. There is accessibility that hasn't been there.
That's a
before.
good point.
Yeah.
So I think that literally, I think you're gonna shoot yourself by having a real draft document go out. You know, at the point you figure that it's going to the attorney, maybe shortly before that, get some input if you have time. It depends on how quickly you're.
And then after that, when we actually have a completed document, we're gonna have public meetings. Those are gonna be in the evenings. So that people can go. We're gonna have several of them.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a report. He's gonna give a report to the council meeting on how we're going. So that'll happen at council meetings in the evening.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, and we have
So-
our emails.
But this is just for us.
Yeah, just for
What's
us.
convenient for us to get together and get this.
No,
thing
and I
done.
agree. I think for me, so I was here, I moved here right when the last charter was going on for vote,
Yeah.
right? And I was really interested in it because I just moved here and I wanted to know, you know, what the politics were like here. And there was so much public contention over, you know, just a few parts of the charter, but like those few parts of the charter that were contentious were so contentious. And I remember thinking as somebody who wasn't involved in it at all, geez, did they not get any public feedback? Because they seem really blindsided by this. And so I guess I just want to make sure that the public feels like they're a part of this process. Although I understand we are the task force, I think part of getting public buy-in is making sure that we have public involvement. And I just don't want to do things that hard for the public.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, I think we'll get.
And I think what you said
Oh,
about,
plenty of
there's
time,
so
yeah.
much more public access in today's world than there was.
I mean, the only real time frame that we're looking at. And we're not locked in stone, but to be able to have this completed, be able to go to the council with it, schedule several public hearings of people, and we can sit there and defend why we did what, not to those public, and then have finally go to a vote. They'd like to have it ready for November because
Which is
But
why
they-
we
but they have
have
a
the kind of
process.
soft deadline of August.
that's why we, and the reason for that is because it's $34,000 or whatever to hold a meeting, right? We're always gonna have one.
Right.
Why don't we have it for that?
Yeah.
And if one of the changes is truly getting the city treasurer council elected, instead of, that Jim has another year and a half. So this would have to go through the process being approved by the voters, and it's gotta go to the general assembly. The general assembly has to approve it, come back and formulate it. So that's gonna get us, it's gonna put us 6-7 months down the road.
And if they have any concerns, and we're back at the draw, we've
And
got to
we gotta
work,
go back
we've got to
and
come
have time
back
to
and
work that.
address those
So-
concerns. Same with the public, if they've got major concerns, we need to be, respectful and address them. So I think a lot of whole process is doing
So,
that.
so the sooner we get through our review, which can be done much faster, it's basically the task force and a few people that know what's going on, because you guys have been helpful in the process.
Yeah, I was gonna-
But not everybody would be helpful. in the
No.
process.
It's helpful.
Then you'll never get it done. That's, so it's a juggling act, trying to
Yeah.
figure out how you.
So would we come up with final draft as far as we're concerned?
Yep.
We're gonna hold public hearings,
Yes,
so that
Council.
document could, the council is,
Yeah.
but are we going to?
I would imagine.
Well,
I
it's
don't-
all together. We have to present,
You in there.
Huh?
You forgot your attorney review.
Yes, that's gonna go out too.
Yeah.
So, before the attorney reviews it, are there hearings, or will it be after?
Probably after.
Okay.
There's lots
So,
of-
but
we
when we,
have to
so
back
when
up.
we present this to the council,
They will give it to a
so
lawyer.
are we going to take a vote as a task force?
a vote on,
Probably, yeah.
Whether or not.
I think Brett would like to see like a
If this
word
ta- if the
unanimous
task-
or
well,
three,
yeah,
two.
exactly, if the task
Yeah.
force is unanimous and.
Yeah.
and its recommendation to council.
Yeah.
And then the council will get it.
But our
Send it
vote
to the
doesn't
attorney.
mean this is the, it's
No,
just
no,
saying,
no.
we're voting
we're,
that.
we're,
As a task
we
force,
are
this is
a-
what we've agreed on.
And then you can come back from the attorney and the council could listen. If there are other objections from the public, the council can make those changes, not the task. force. I want to make sure that we're
No.
not doing dual
Or-
process.
So the other avenue is this owl here is doing this, and then my son Todd is putting it on. So anybody can go in and watch it at any time of day. And I've had a couple of people say, I'm following that, and I'm looking.
yeah, I have.
And have called me and gave me, what do you think of this or that? So I already had that. There's more, there's availability to the public that way if they're really concerned. You know.
All right, are we all set? Dennis, do you have anything, any final comments?
No, I think we're on the right track.
Perfect. So we'll see you Wednesday morning at 8:00.
Yes.
Lori, do you have any final comments?
I just think y'all did great today. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being. All right, I'm gonna say goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Come on. Motion to adjourn.
So move.
Done.